Chapter 6. Kushina frowned and said, "Ten, this is going to be hard. I don't see any land, meaning he has nowhere to live. I'm going to go out into the sea and use my bloodline to try and find him. I need you to stay on the lighthouse as a marker so I can find our way back out to here. If you fall off, all three of us will be lost in his mind, possibly forever. Do you understand?" Ten gulped and nods, and Kushina said, "Good, now remember, stay on the lighthouse no matter what." As she dashed out into the sea, running across the water, and Ten stepped out into the sea and began to fall into it as a memory of a battle hit her, and she sees the battle is between Konoha and Kyubi, and she shook her head, quickly applying chakra to her feet, and stood on the water before climbing up on top of the lighthouse. As she did, she felt the rain hitting her as flashes of memories hit her with each drop as the wind hit her, trying to blow her off the lighthouse. Out in the sea, Kushina bit her lip as another wave crashed over her and thought, "Where are you, son?" Naruto was in the sea, laying on his back as a wave crashed over him and the rain fell down on him, and he looked at the sky with a blank look on his face when he felt something a tingle in the back of his mind like a bell ringing, and after several moments he felt another tingle as he thought, "What the hell, there's one number 2 chakra signatures here, wait, I recognize one of them," as his eyes widened and thought, "That's Ten, what's she doing here?" As his body fell down under the water, as his head began to look around as more waves crashed into him. Naruto bit his lip and thought, "I don't know what she's doing here, but I can't let her stay in this thing, whatever it is that is causing all these memories. I have to find her." As he tried to climb out of the sea using chakra, and after several tries thought, "Fuck it, when I get out of here, the first thing I am doing is learning to walk on water right." As he began to swim toward where he felt Ten as the storm began to pick up more speed as his emotions became more upset over fear of Ten being okay. Kushina felt a wave crash over her as she wiped a tear away from her eyes and thought, "My poor son, I'll kill those fucking villagers for what they did to you." As she saw a memory of one of the times he was attacked. Ten was on the lighthouse as the storm increased in power and thought, "What madness, how can he survive this? I feel like I am going to drown in this, and I am only on this tower, what the hell?" As a huge tidal wave came crashing into the tower, and she grabbed the rail on the lighthouse to keep from being swept off, as she saw a memory of Naruto being ignored by people, and she felt his emotions from it and thought, "Oh Naruto, I understand now why you felt you might disappear. Oh shit." As another huge wave came crashing into her, and she saw the night where Naruto learned of the Kyubi, and how when he got home that night he thought about how he would forever be alone. With that memory, Ten felt her eyes watering as she thought, "You actually felt that way, Naruto." Another wave crashed into her, and this time it was the memory of Sasuke and Sakura talking about Naruto not actually passing and Ten being paid to be a tutor to him. Ten felt her hands clench in rage and thought, "You fucking pink-haired bitch." As tears fell from her eyes. Another wave crashed into her, and this time it was Naruto speaking with Inoichi and Ino about his plan to set up Sakura, and then his talk with Inoichi about why he really felt about why the Sandaime hasn't stepped down, and Ten felt her hold on the rail slipping, and then another wave crashed into her. And this was the one where Ten came to Naruto apartment the first morning. As another wave crashed into her, it was the events at the academy the day of team placements. Then another wave crashed as a memory of their talking in the woods the first time she found him there, and Ten felt her hold slipping more and more, but she didn't care as she was caught up in the emotions of the memories that hit her as she understood why and how Naruto truly felt for her. And then she saw the memory of their first kiss where Naruto tried to give her every ounce of love he had, and she closed her eyes as she felt her heart ache for him as another wave crashed into her with him begging for someone to help him before he passed out from injuries once, and she lost her hold on the tower completely, and she took a deep breath waiting for the water to hit her to take her under when she felt herself embraced and a voice say, "I got you, Tenchi." As Ten eyes opened and saw a completely soaked Naruto holding her bridal style, and she did the first thing she thought of him, kissed him, pulling him into a tight embrace. As she did, the storm froze a moment, though neither noticed it, and a small piece of land appeared in the sea near the lighthouse as the storm clouds began to break apart as Naruto returned the kiss as he pulled her closer to him and closed his eyes, holding on to her as if she was his only lifeline as she did the same to him, never opening her eyes as she kissed him more and more as the land got bigger and bigger and the sea retracted slowly and the wind calmed down from a hurricane gale to a gentle breeze as the sun began to shine down on them through the cracks in the storm. This was the sight that Kushina walked up to as she smiled and thought, "So you found each other," and calmed the storm of emotions that he was lost in. As she walked toward the island and as the sound of Sagi footsteps hit Ten and Naruto, they broke the kiss and saw a completely soaked Kushina standing there, and Naruto eyes widened and looked in fear before the storm began to build up in the sky again, and Ten saw this and screamed, "Stop." As she grabbed his face and made him turn and look at her. Ten said, "Listen to me, she's a friend, I'll explain more in a few minutes when we get out of here, please come with us." The storm that was building stopped progressing toward the small island, and Naruto said in a neutral voice, "All right for you, where are we?" Ten said thank you, please come with us and everything will be explained. As she set her foot on the tower and walked down it to the door and opened it, and Naruto took a look at her and then a worried glance at Kushina before he walked over to where Ten opened the door and followed her into the whirlpool beach area with Kushina following. When they got inside, Kushina thought words won't be enough, I'll just have to show him my memories of his birth and then go from there. He doesn't trust me, and he's scared of what will happen. As she walked over and placed her hand on the whirlpool and Naruto and Ten saw as Kushina and Minato talked. Minato looked at Kushina and said, I don't want our son to grow up feeling the pain I felt of not knowing a parent. The fact I had to live without knowing anything about either of mine is something that still haunts me to this day. I have to find some way to make it where he knows about you. Kushina was silent for several minutes and said in a questioning voice, Minato, you know that seal you told me about, the one that holds the nibi to that girl up in Kumo? Minato thought a moment and said, the soul binding seal, what about it? Kushina said, well, will a seal sealed inside another seal still work? Minato scratched the back of his head in a way that Ten thought reminded her of Naruto, and he said, it depends. Some seals might work and others won't, it depends really why. Kushina said, we know I'm dying. No one knows how to cure that poison I received. What if I were to seal myself using that soul-binding seal? You told me how the Nibi body was sealed away with the demon soul, right? Well, why couldn't a human body be sealed as well? Things inside a seal are basically frozen in time, right? So even though me and my body would be sealed inside him, I wouldn't actually die. If that works, then you could draw the whirlpool seal on our son, and that way him and I could meet him as well as Ten since I drew the seal on her being her godmother. Minato thought a moment and said it might work, but what if it doesn't? We have to figure out a way to let him know. Wait, that's it. Kushina asked what? Minato began to rub his hands together in thought and said, you remember the experimental seal I told you about that sealed the knowledge of the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu in the Forbidden Scroll, so that way whoever opens and reads it would learn to use that jutsu in a few hours. How I planned for it to be a way to help the next Hokage defeat paperwork like I do. Kushina nodded slowly and Minato said, well, what if I did the same thing, but instead of a single jutsu I instead make it where all our knowledge on a subject like seals, chakra control, jutsu, etc. were sealed in a scroll or a book on that subject. I could encode it to our blood where when he holds the book he would get our knowledge on that so he can surpass us. Kushina frowned and said, I don't know, Minato. There are things I wouldn't want our son to know. I know how much it hurts you not knowing, but sometimes it's best not to know. I mean, do you really want our son to know he was conceived on your desk in the Hokage Tower? At this, both Ten and Naruto paled, and Naruto said, oh god, Gigi, I'm destroying your desk when I get back to Konoha. Back in the whirlpool, Minato rubbed his head and laughed sheepishly and said, I wonder how many people would believe that it's the same desk the Shodame Nidame and the Sandame used while in office, and Tsunade was conceived on that desk along with both Sarutobi kids. Ten scrunched her nose and said, damn, that's Naruto said, exploding tags, nothing of it must remain. As he looked scarred. Kushina laughed sheepishly and said, what if people knew about the cuts in the walls under the picture? I can't believe Sarutobi walked in on us that one day and told us the other secret of the Hokage office, or why it was called the Hokage office. Minato said, yeah, the Nidame walked in on the Shodame having sex with his wife and marked the wall with a kunai as a joke like a notch on a headboard. Kushina said, yeah, who knew Sarutobi could do it so many times in that office? Minato said, but look how long he was in there. I mean, come on, that many years you would expect a lot of notches. Kushina tilted her head to the side and said, true, so anyways, what do we do about Naruto? Minato said, I guess we can try both. I'll draw the seals in that book and let him start reading them when he makes Genin, and do one a month for a year if I don't find out the seal you used didn't work. Kushina said, I still say that you should let me put that seal on you as well. Minato shook his head and said, no, there are too many secrets in my head that I can't tell anyone, and it would be easy for someone to learn the secrets by learning this seal and putting it on themselves. Kushina pouted and said, fine, so how should we explain this to the others? Minato said, let's keep it a secret because someone may try and get the book to get our knowledge, or the Sandame Mizukage may try and kill you to stop Naruto from being born. Kushina looked down and said, all right, so about the 2 arranged marriages. Minato groaned as the whirlpool changed to Naruto being born and then Kushina sealing herself in Naruto, and then when Kushina met Ten and learned about Minato being dead and Kushina explaining everything to Ten and then their plan to help Naruto. When it was over, Kushina took her hand away from the whirlpool and said, that is all I can say in my defense, I'm sorry and I never knew and wish I could have been there for you, Naruto. I would call you son, but I don't know if you would let me. As she closed her eyes and looked down. Naruto bit his lip and slowly walked over and said, it wasn't your fault, mother. He hugged her from behind. Tenten saw this and wiped a tear from her eye and thought, so you finally got your mother, Naruto, I'm happy for you. After a while, Naruto and his mother, who had returned the hug, let go of each other reluctantly, and Kushina said, so what was that I saw when I walked up earlier? Can I expect grandkids? Naruto screamed mom, while Tenten screamed godmother. As both blushed red, Kushina laughed and waved her hand and said, relax, I was just joking, but seriously, I thought you were in love with someone named Niji. Why were you and my son kissing? He didn't force himself on you, did he? Saying the last part dangerously. Naruto got a little scared from the look Kushina had on her face, and Tenten blushed and said, no, not this time. I kissed him. I don't know what I feel right now. I mean, I thought I loved Niji, but after everything that has happened and everything I experienced, I don't know anymore if I still love him or if I love Naruto. I have known Niji for years and I was sure I loved him, but now that I am starting to understand Naruto and get to know him better, I just don't know. I feel weird. I mean, I find out I'm engaged to a guy I didn't even know a few months ago and have been engaged to him for my entire life. Dad is so going to get an ass chewing when I get back. As she bit her lip as her eyes glossed over, Naruto started to say something when Kushina said, then how about this? How about you both take time to train together and learn more about each other like you were supposed to have been growing up? Forget about love for now and work on getting stronger. Using this link I can teach you both things about your past, including Kenjutsu, which is something I see you both have a thing for. I can also teach you water jutsu, how to use your bloodline, Naruto, as well as a few tricks that only a kunoichi can learn or do. Tenten. What do you both say to that? Naruto bit his lip and said as he looked at Tenten, if you want to. Tenten said, yeah, I don't know if I love you, Naruto, but I do care for you. It's impossible for me not to after everything we have been through. It may be just friends though, so please give me time to work this out. Naruto frowns but nods and said, alright, so how do we do this? Kushina smiled and said, alright, as you saw with Tenten and me talking earlier, there is no way one of you can enter the other's mind without permission or my help, and I will only help if it is absolutely necessary. That does not mean that you both have to have every conversation with me involved. There are several functions to this seal that I have not explained yet. One is that you can send chakra into the seal on your neck and think of the name of a person who is linked to this place, and you can speak directly to each other if the person returns the link. It will still sound like that bell when you are being called. Another function of this link is as long as the lighthouse is here, that person is alive. As you can see, that also means you can tell how many of us with the link are still around. Naruto asked, so does that mean there are no other Uzumaki out there? Kushina was quite a moment and said the lighthouse seal was given to an Uzumaki when they were 10 years old. If there are any others out there, then they were either under 10 years old when Whirlpool Village was attacked or were born after it was attacked by someone who didn't know how to put the seal on and their parents died. That means that right now, the only person with the knowledge of our bloodline and history is me, and somewhat you, Naruto. Naruto nods and Tenten asked, what other abilities does this place have? Kushina said, when there was a dispute in the clan, this was where it was settled. We did not have our disputes in the open for others to learn about them. We came here, and by showing the memories of the dispute from all parties involved, we were able to see exactly what did happen and not what others thought happened, which settled a lot of disputes and made getting over them a lot easier. That's basically it though. It was mostly designed for long-distance communication so we could search and rescue people in danger quicker and save more lives. Naruto said, I don't care since it let me finally meet my mom. With a smile. Kushina smiled and said, I know, son, but I think it is time for you and Tenten to return the normal world and get some rest. You both look tired. Naruto yawned and said, yeah, I am. Tenten yawned as well as said, me too, good night both you. As she walked toward her lighthouse and Naruto screamed, wait. As he ran over to her and hugged her and gave her a quick kiss on the lips and said thank you and good night. As he turned and ran to his lighthouse and closed the door after he entered it. Tenten raised an eyebrow and Kushina said, get over it, girl, he's trying to make up for 15 years of loneliness by showing you all the physical affection he can. Tenten said, I know that, but the thing is, he slipped me his tongue also. Kushina blushed and said, then do what you feel you should then. As she looked away. Tenten giggled and said, my life's never going to be boring again, is it? Kushina said, nope. As Tenten shook her head and left. After she was gone, Kushina walked toward Naruto Lighthouse and walked around to the back side of it away from the door and said, hello, Minato. With a glare. There against the lighthouse was a prison cell built into the lighthouse, and Minato said, I know I fucked up big time. Kushina said you think for now you just sulk here and be quiet while I try and fix another of your mistakes. As she turned and walked off. Minato sighed and sat down against the wall and thought woman can't live with them, can't escape their wrath. The next day when Naruto awoke, he found Tenten asleep laying on his arm and he smiles as he rubbed his hand across her face moving a stray hair that had gotten on her face, and thought I wonder what her hair looks like down. Tenten slowly opened her eyes and blinked as she felt someone rubbing her face and saw Naruto looking at her, and she smiled softly and said morning. Naruto said morning, maybe or maybe afternoon. As he tried to look around the room he was in to find a clock or something to tell him what time it was. Tenten snorts and said not even 5 words, and you're already annoying me. As she sat up and blinked and said hey isn't that your swords? As she saw a pair of swords by Naruto bed. Naruto looked at them and said yeah, how did they get here though? I thought they were still in the woods. A voice said they were. I brought them here for you Naruto, or are you Minato? Naruto frowned and said hello Gigi, it's still me somewhat mom wants to kick your ass by the way. The Sandaime blinked and said oh and who is she? Naruto said Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. The second soul seal was placed there the day I was born, which was the 9th of October before we found out Kyuubi was attacking. Mom sealed her soul and body in me since she was dying so she could use a special seal to talk to me and her goddaughter Tenten. The Sandaime's eyes widened and said so that's what the seal on your neck is, I thought it was a seal used to keep the fox from talking to you. Tenten said no but it wasn't complete and if I hadn't have fallen asleep and brushed against the seal where she was sealed we would never have known it, but it activated the seal I had on my neck and she was able to talk to me and told me how to put it on Naruto, and I found the problem and fixed it. We also know what was happening to Naruto now and why he was really here. It wasn't his dad taking over his body but a sort of memory transfer thing that his dad created. Naruto said you know those 2 books you gave me Gigi? In the Book of Seals was all Dad's knowledge of seals sealed inside it to transfer to me as long as I held onto it, and the book on chakra theories was his knowledge of chakra control theories and applications. Mom said there was several books like that he made in the Hokage office that I was supposed to have gotten. It's like a family scroll, but encoded where it would transfer to only a blood relation, not anyone else. I guess the reason I am feeling this way is I am constantly holding the books. Sarutobi said I see so you're you, and not Minato, thank God. I was afraid I would kill him if he did take over you, because I would care if you disappeared. Naruto nods and said oh wait, that reminds me be back in a second. As he closed his eyes and slumped slightly. Tenten said don't worry, he's using the seal to talk to his mom. Naruto sat up and blinked and said my mind's still a storm, but not much of one is the arranged marriage between the Kazekage daughter and me still active. It was arranged by Dad and the Yondaime Kazekage. Sarutobi blinked and said arranged marriage, I wasn't aware there was one, but I can contact them and find out. Naruto said also is there any way you can get me all the information you have on the land of water, the land of whirlpool, and also any other reports of refugees from the land of whirlpool? Sarutobi asked why. Naruto rubbed his head and said I'm not sure actually. Mom told me it was important. Whatever the reason she wants me to get the information for is the reason why her and Tenten mom were poisoned by an assassin from the hidden mist. It's also one of the 2 reasons why I have got to have more than one wife. I have to not only restore the Uzumaki clan but also whatever it is she's hiding from me. Sarutobi frowned and Tenten said did she say anything else? Naruto said yeah, I don't know now why, but mom did tell me one thing I don't understand yet that she wanted me to make sure to tell you Gigi. Minato was an Uzumaki, having taken her name instead of her taking his. As such the marriage is clan business. What did she mean by that? Tenten snorts and said your mom just basically said that the Sandaime can't cancel or speak for you about the marriage and the council and other clans can't interfere because the agreement was between the Uzumaki clan and Suna, not Konoha and Suna. Naruto said, but wasn't it supposed to be some sort of arrangement to strengthen bonds between villages? Sarutobi said basically yes, but it's also the way Tenten said it. It's why clans don't usually get asked to be part of an arranged marriage because they take lead over the village and fall under the clan's control, who is the other marriage with Naruto. Tenten frowned and Naruto said the heiress to the Ukami clan and ally to the Uzumaki clan, who I will be contacting soon, but their location and who she is must remain a secret for now. Sarutobi said you seem to have learned a lot about politics Naruto. Naruto said not really, time moves slower in the seal as mom and I talked for about an hour inside it when I went back in there when only a few minutes passed her. Mom told me what to say or do if certain things were said until I learn the things I am going to need. As he rubbed his head. Tenten said it's unreal. Causing both to turn and look at her, and Naruto asked what. Tenten said the way you can mimic your parents' nervous habits without remembering your parents. That head scratch just then was definitely your dad, but the way you smile is definitely your mother's. Sarutobi said true, but how do you know that? Tenten said, Naruto sighed and said the seal allows us to show our memories and mom showed a few with dad to help explain what was happening to me. Sarutobi nods and Naruto asked so when can I leave? Sarutobi said how do you feel? Naruto said all right now. The headaches are gone. Sarutobi said the doctor said you should be able to leave when you woke up since you heal so quickly, but I don't want you training with your Kage Bunshin for the next 3 days, and also don't overdo your training if you do train. After that you can rejoin your team and begin training how you wish again. I will also get what I can about the information you requested, but I ask that you not take any actions without my approval. Naruto said, I just want to know what is going on and what to expect for now. Sarutobi said very well, I will also send a message to the Kazekage to find out about if the marriage is still on, but to do so, I will have to inform him of both your parents' identities. Naruto said that's fine, you can tell everyone as far as I care who my dad was. Maybe then they can get over their feelings of hatred for me, though I doubt it. Sarutobi said well, we can't go that far yet. I want to hold off that until I am sure you can protect yourself properly since you have got so many enemies outside of the village because of both your parents. Naruto said yeah, I agree. As he got up and an eep was heard before a thud was heard and both turned to see Tenten passed out on the floor with a perverted smile on her face and Naruto blinked and said hey where's my cloths? I didn't know I was in a hospital gown. Sarutobi said I imagine they are in the closet. As he turned and started to walk out with a smile on his face. Naruto said hey what about Tenten? Sarutobi said you can help her. As he laughed as he started to leave but Naruto said wait, don't tell anyone about what happened to mom or where she is at. She told me that there was someone in Konoha who betrayed her and dad to the Sande Mizukage. She told me that it's okay to tell she's alive and has contacted me but her location must be kept a secret. Also, everything you heard about the seal 1010 and I have must remain a secret because they can be used against us. Sarutobi nods and said I will keep it a secret. As he left. Naruto scowled and walked around the bed and picked Tenten up and set her on the bed and he walked over to the portable closet and opened it and found his cloths and he grumbled as he pulled the gown off and threw it in a chair before he started to slip on his boxers. Tenten eyes began to flutter as she came to and she opened her eyes and looked around as she saw Naruto bend over showing her a back view of his naked ass and Tenten blushed and thought nice. As she licked her lips slightly as she watched Naruto pull on his pants and grab his shirt and began to pull it on as he turned around and she saw his abs and thought he's been training hard to get those. Naruto as he pulled it on blinked and said oh you're awake now why did you faint? Tenten thought he's campy never mind I forgot he is. As she said I guess I was tired from sitting by your bedside for so long. Naruto said oh so how long have I been here? Tenten said 2 days. Naruto froze as he was slipping on his shoes and said I see thank you Tenten nobody ever comes see me in the hospital besides Gigi and that's only a few minutes. As he grabbed his swords and slipped them on Tenten said oh so you ready to go? Naruto said sure where do you want to go? Tenten said well how about we go get something to eat? I'm hungry and it's been a few days since you ate. Naruto said sure. As he opened the door and motioned for her to go first and Tenten blushed slightly as she walked out and left. As they did a figure stepped out from the room next to theirs and whispered Naruto-kun. Before leaving. Naruto followed Tenten to a dango stand he's never been in before and Tenten saw how Naruto was looking nervous and she said relax. I eat here all the time. As she walked up to the counter and Naruto followed a couple of steps back. The man at the counter saw Tenten and said oh hello Tenten what can I get for you? Tenten said I'll take 2 orders of the usual. The man said 2 you must be really hungry today to eat 6 dango. Tenten said no my friend here just got out of the hospital and I thought I'd show him what good dango tastes like. As she grabbed Naruto's shirt pulling him forward. The man glanced at Naruto and frowned a second before he said sure. Coming right up. As he turned and started to make the dango. Tenten said see nothing to worry about but you're paying for both of ours as payback for what you did in the woods. Naruto snorts and said so is this my last meal before you kill me? Tenten put her finger to her chin and said maybe. With a smirk. The man came back with 2 plates with 3 dangos and Tenten said thanks Haru, pay the man and let's go get a booth Naruto. Naruto sighed and pulled out his wallet and said how much? Haru said $10. Naruto nods and hands him the money and said thank you. Quietly as he bowed slightly. Haru blinked and said hey come again. As he turned and went back to the kitchen part to clean up. Naruto smiled slightly and walked over and sat down across from Tenten who had went and bought a couple of bottles of water from a machine and he said so. Tenten took a bite of her dango and after swallowing and taking a sip of water watching as Naruto squirmed under her uncaring look she asked so now that you know you're not dying do you regret what happened in the woods? As she took another bite. Naruto said not really. I do but I don't. I regret that I put you in that situation but I'm glad I did also because I honestly feel that way about you and if I was dying like I thought I was then I don't regret giving my first kiss to you or trying to show you how much you mean to me. I know you don't feel the same way about me and I accept that but there is no one I would rather have been there for me in my last moments than you. Tenten looked out onto the street and said why didn't you tell me what was going on Naruto, why did I have to see you with blood coming out of your eyes ears nose and mouth from internal bleeding? As she turned glaring at him. Naruto looked down under her glare and said I wanted the last moments we had together to be filled with happiness so that way when you looked back you could remember me with a smile on your face and a warmth in your heart that way even if the rest of the world forgot about me there would be a part of me left in your heart. Tenten turned her head and frowned and said Naruto I want honesty between us from now on I know how you feel about me and yes I do care for you, it may be only friends or it may be more but there has got to be honesty even if one of us is dying do you understand? Naruto said yeah. Tenten said good so I saw you have been getting better with your kenjutsu so how are the rest of your skills going? Naruto glad for the change in subject said well my chakra control still sucks but I'm going to focus on that heavily once I get back to training in 3 days. I've also gotten better with the use of my bloodline and I can pick chakra signatures up to 10 yards and I could identify some chakra signatures but not many. My speed has improved since I am now carrying the total amount of weights that you wanted me to stop at but I don't like how bulky they are and how long it takes to put them on and off so I am going to see if I can't figure out a way to release them faster or zero them out. I've been doing 200 sit-ups push-ups squats, jumping jacks punches and kicks every day while also running 2 laps around the village first thing in the morning and before I stop for the day I've had a couple kage bunshins. Reading up on anatomy chakra kenjutsu taijutsu strategy and medicine seals are coming along greatly and I've been improving on them and my brush strokes greatly but I guess we know why now huh? With a half chuckle, Tenten chuckled lightly and said yeah so how about that seal we talked about you know the one for kunoichi? Naruto thought a moment and said oh that one. As he unsealed the scroll from his shoulder and unsealed a scroll inside of the scroll and unsealed a tag and he handed the square tag to Tenten and said here put it on your arm and channel chakra into it. Tenten said huh why what will happen? Naruto said you will turn into a guy. Tenten eyes widened and said in a raised voice you finished it already. As she put the tag on her arm and sent chakra into it and she was covered in smoke and when it cleared Tenten had turned into her dad and then she looked at her hands and grabbed a napkin holder and looked at herself and said hey I look like dad I also sound like him. Naruto smirked and said yeah what I did was configure the seal to draw the image of some male you have in your memories. That is only a prototype that will last for 4 minutes, before it wears off. I can configure it for longer later. Tenten felt her body, and said whoa, that's weird feeling that down there. As she was covered in smoke. Naruto laughed and Tenten looked at the tag that burned away, and she said you did it, you actually made a seal to protect Kunoichi from getting raped. In an excited voice. A female voice said well done Naruto. Causing both Tenten and Naruto to look over and saw Kurenai and Anko standing there. Naruto said hey you're the sensei for Team 8. Kurenai said yes I am. My name is Kurenai and this is my friend Anko. The Sandame was showing us our teams the day of team selection when you and Tenten here were talking about the seal you created. I'm impressed that you were able to actually create it, may I give it a try? Naruto shrugged and said sure I guess. As he unsealed another tag and handed one to her and to Anko who both put it on and were covered in smoke appearing as different males and both women began to feel their bodies and move around them and Anko said in a male voice wow Gaki. This is real, I can even feel the club I'm packing in my pants. Kurenai said blunt as always an actual shapeshift truly amazing Naruto. Naruto frowned and said too bad it won't really protect Kunoichi from rape. As he looked down. Anko Kurenai and Tenten blinked and looked at him and Tenten said but it will Naruto. Naruto said only 1 or 2 kunoichi until word gets around about the seal, and then people will learn how to get around it by waiting until the time limit expires, and then the kunoichi will get raped then, and while they are waiting to change back, the people holding them can torture them in other ways. The problem isn't actually the rape, it's what caused them to get captured in the first place, that's the problem. As Anko and Kurenai changed back, Anko said, "What do you mean, Gaki?" Naruto said, "Well, I thought about what would happen when a kunoichi used the seal. Would they get some of their chakra back? Will they be freed from their bindings if they're tied down? Will the guys holding them down let go of them? If they've been poisoned, will the poison be cured? If they were captured because they ran out of chakra or were physically exhausted from fighting or running, or if they were wounded, what good would the seal I design actually do for them?" Kurenai said, "I guess you're right." Sounding dejected, Naruto said, "Yeah, that's why I'm designing another seal to actually fix those problems, and I've got some good ideas, but I need information that I can only get from a kunoichi to proceed from where I am at." Tenten said, "What am I, chop liver?" as she crossed her arms. Naruto said, "No, that's not what I meant, Tenten. I mean, I need to speak with a kunuchi who's done seduction missions. One who's willing to talk about sexual-related questions and be honest with me so I can create the seal safely without causing side effects like making a woman sterile or causing her to injure her lover or husband during intercourse that had accidentally activated the seal I'm creating." Tenten blushed and said, "Oh well, what does this seal you're designing do?" Kurenai said, "Yeah, I might be willing to answer your questions if I think the seal you're designing is worth it." Anko said, "So will I, since I've done those missions on several occasions." Naruto looked at Tenten and said, "You don't mind if they join us, do you?" I mean, Tenten said, "No, it's fine, this is important, and I know both these ladies from when they come in my family shop, besides, I might learn something." Naruto smiled and said, "All right, please join us then if you don't mind, because this will take a few minutes to explain my idea." Tenten scooted over and Kurenai and Anko sat down and Naruto said, "Well, have you heard of the curse seal?" Anko tensed and Kurenai glanced at her and Tenten said, "No, why?" Naruto said, "Well, it's a seal designed by Orochimaru, and I only actually know about it thanks to notes the yondaime left about it, so I'm mostly going by his notes here. What it basically does is open one of the celestial gates, the heel gate, actually to release the chakra into the body, causing it to recover quicker, shortening the user's lifespan a few seconds. It does a lot more than that, but that is all I need to explain before I explain what I've been coming up with. When the gates open, they release so much chakra into a person's body that it starts to break the muscles of the body from overload, and it increases a person's speed, strength and chakra for as long as they have the gate open, while it is also destroying the body. Now imagine that you're being held down or tied down where you couldn't get free, and if you did get free, either the poison in your system would make it where you couldn't do much, or you were so tired or low on chakra you couldn't do much." Tenten frowned and said, "You're thinking of using the celestial gates to overcome this?" Naruto said, "Yes and no. What good is fixing those problems if your body is destroyed before you could use it? Because of this, I have been working on a way to first activate the first gate, and only the first gate. When the chakra goes into the body, a second seal will activate, drawing the extra chakra out of your body to keep it from breaking down, damaging your body. But I thought, if I did that, what could I do with the chakra the seal was absorbing? And then I thought, well, if you're tied up or being held down, how about a way to cut yourself free? So I am designing a seal that will convert the extra chakra that is being absorbed into wind-natured chakra that will cut the metal, flesh, bones or whatever else it is that is holding you down, as your entire body is covered in wind chakra, so no matter how much you are tied up or how many are holding you down, you would be free in just a few seconds and you would have energy and chakra to use again. Now the wind chakra would last for as long as the seal lasts, so every punch or kick you do would not only do damage from the actual punch or kick but also cut a person, and if you hit a person in the neck you could cut their head right off or cut off an arm or leg depending on how much chakra is being released. But imagine if you waited till the right moment to activate the seal. If a guy was getting ready to, when the seal activated, you would cut off his dick with the wind chakra, ending one enemy for sure." Tenten was shocked as she heard this and said, "Whoa." As both Kurenai and Anko eyes widened and Anko got a gleam in her eyes. Naruto said, "But that's not all. You see, any weapon used against you would be cut or deflected also by the wind chakra unless it was made of special chakra-resistant metal, so basically as long as an enemy doesn't use a fire jutsu you would be basically unstoppable for a few minutes. I can't leave the gate open for long, so I probably will have to set the seal where it could only be active for 10 minutes as to not destroy your body even with the extra chakra being pulled off, and I still have to deal with the poison. But I was thinking about making a transferable storage seal that can be placed in a kunoichi mouth where all she has to do is release the seal, and an antidote pill, a soldier pill or a blood pill could be released to save her time and enemies wouldn't be able to look for them. But I would need to speak with an older kunoichi about that, since they would know about what could and couldn't be done for seduction missions." You wouldn't want to release a stored pill in your mouth while having oral sex, now would you? Anko laughed and said I like your style kid, but what about damage from the wind chakra coming back and cutting up the kunoichi who uses it in the first place? Naruto shook his head and said you forgot the seal you three already used. It creates a new body that is bigger than your own body, and your cloths changed as well. It would cut that body up and you would feel the cuts, and it would cut the cloths for the shapeshift, but once the jutsu was released and you went back to your real body, you wouldn't have any actual damage from the wind chakra, and if what I read about the celestial gates is real, you won't feel the pain from the cuts anyways since your body will be feeling like it's going 100 miles an hour already basically. Kurenai said so for 10 minutes you could give a kunoichi a fighting chance to fight against her attackers. Naruto said, I know it seems like a short amount of time and odds or this will be classified as a kinjutsu because opening the celestial gates is a forbidden jutsu in the first place, but I would rather break a few rules and give a kunoichi a chance to fight back and try to escape than the alternative. Maybe she won't make it but maybe she will, and if she doesn't she will at least get the satisfaction of giving her attackers one more act of defiance, and maybe take a few of them out before they are able to capture her again if they can capture her alive. This seal is meant as a last resort kind of thing. Kurenai thought a moment and said so how long do you think it will take you to create this seal? Naruto said depends really. If you and Anko answer some of my questions so I can figure out if you using a birth control jutsu or seduction jutsu would interfere with the seal I am designing, I could have it done in 3 or 4 months most likely. If I can get Gigi to let me see any notes he has on Orochimaru curse seal, or show me one so I can see what seal design and chakra pattern he used to open the heel gate so I can figure out how to open the first celestial gate, then it will cut a lot of time off of desinging it. If I actually knew how to open them myself I wouldn't need to study the curse seal or try to recreate it from the notes the yondaime left me. Then once I get the seal finished I'll have to test it on a couple thousand of my Kage Bunshin to see what it does to them and then find a kunoichi who knows a clone jutsu besides the academy one that I can use the seal on to see what reactions her clone experience and see if it works right. If it does, then I either have to get the Hokage and the council permission to offer the seal, which will be hard, or I have to find someone willing to privately sell the seal to kunoichi. I also need to simplify the seal enough that it can be put on a kunoichi quickly and either be hidden by a tattoo or a genjutsu seal to make it invisible since I doubt you would want everyone to see seals all over your body. Anko asked why did the yondaime leave notes on seals to you? Naruto thought crap and Tenten said because of the you know what. Seals degrade over time so someone has to inspect it from time to time to make sure it hasn't degraded too much and if it has to be repaired. Who better than him? Anko said, I see what do you think of Orochimaru Gaki? Naruto frowned and said I really don't know that much about him. I know that he can summon snakes and he's a sannin who created the curse seal and was trained by Gigi. Besides that I don't know anything about him why. Anko said what do you think about the curse seal he created? Naruto said truthfully from what I read about it I think the bastard should be killed. The curse seal only has a 10% chance of survival and I have a few theories about what he was trying to do with them based on the notes, and if I am right then I have no respect for him. Anko smiled and said I see what do you think of this? As she leaned forward and moved her jacket collar to show the curse seal on her neck. Naruto looked at it and Tenten asked what is that? Naruto said the curse seal of heaven. How long ago did you get this Anko? Anko frowned and said 16 years ago. Naruto said, and nobody removed it for you. Anko and Kurenai eyes widened and Anko leaned back and said remove it, it can't be removed. Naruto leaned back and smirked and said yeah it can. Yours is a prototype version of it isn't it? Anko said yeah, how did you know? Naruto said the seal array isn't complete and most of the basic functions are set to try and isolate what it is that kills 90% of those infected with it, which from looking at it I can make a pretty good guess, and if I'm right then Orochimaru is a fucking idiot for missing something so simple as that. You don't use it do you? Anko who was looking at Naruto with a little hope but mostly hidden shook her head no and Naruto said good I see you could only use it safely about 10 times before you would die from chakra poisoning. Maybe less. What I can't figure out though is why he would be trying to change wait let me see that again. Anko leaned forward again and Naruto whistled and said hello what do we have here? Anko asked in a scared voice what do you see? Naruto bit his lip and sat back down and said do you know if Orochimaru has used the curse seal on anyone else since he gave it to you Anko? Anko said yes he has. We had a couple of spies we found a few years back that had them on them lie. Naruto said do you know the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu? Anko said I know of it but I don't know it. Naruto said alright, well the Kage Bunshin when dispels transfer its memories to the original and the other Kage Bunshin, but the distance the memories travel degrades the memories. If I am right, then Orochimaru original body is dead and he is now jumping from one body to another. Kurenai said what do you mean? Naruto said the curse seal is designed to activate the heal gate, and when the chakra is released into the body then it is absorbed into a seal that converts it to mimic Orochimaru's own chakra. The reason he is doing that is because he is trying to turn a person's body into basically a living Kage Bunshin, so when he dies or his body dies, his memories will transfer to the closest person with a curse seal, someone who has a more advanced version of one that Anko has that has used the seal a lot to make their chakra network mimic Orochimaru enough to accept the memories, which will allow him to take over a person's mind and body from the inside out, giving him a new body to use. He's also using the heal gate to cause the cells that are healing the body as it breaks down to mutate them to match the cells of his body, making the body switching process more successful. I would have to examine a newer curse seal to be sure, but I am fairly sure about what I just said, and I figure that he has to change bodies around every 3 to 5 years, as the body he is in begins to reject him and degrades too much. When he put it on you, he bit you, didn't he? Anko said yeah. Naruto said that's how he transferred the genetic sequence to make a person body more resemble his. If I am right, then he could possibly take bloodlines also this way by taking over a body that has a bloodline, and then when he bites a person giving them the curse mark, they would have the cells containing the person with the bloodline had in the transfer, so when he takes over that body he would gain a new body as well as a new bloodline. Tenten asked, are you sure about that, Naruto? Naruto said no, not without seeing a newer curse seal, but based on what I am seeing here on Anko seal, I can make a pretty educated guess since hers is basically a blueprint for all the curse seals that came after it. If I am right, and with that blueprint I should be able to remove the seal. It would only require some blood from the person who has the seal and them being able to make a Kage Bunshin. Anko asked, why would you need my blood and for me to make a Kage Bunshin? Naruto said the seal is currently encoded to Orochimaru chakra and blood. By destroying the encoding seal for the blood and chakra, we would be breaking the link he has to you, but in order to do that without the failsafe activating and killing you, we would first have to insert a blood encoding seal and a chakra encoding seal with your blood and your chakra, so that way when we destroy his encoding seals and the failsafe activates, the seal won't trigger the protection seal and kill you. Once we encode it to you and destroy his encoding seal, all we have to do is have you release the Kage Bunshin that is stored in the chakra encoding seal, which would cause the seal to collapse and free you of it completely. Of course, before I tried to remove it, I would ask someone with more experience than me like Jiraiya to review what I've come up with and make sure there are no hidden traps that I am missing that I don't have information on, and if so, he can explain them to me so we can work on getting by them, but with his help based on what I am seeing here then it shouldn't take long to get rid of the seal. I could try it myself, but I prefer to be safe and make sure that nothing happens to you before doing it. Anko asked in a hopeful voice, but you do think it's possible to remove the seal? Naruto said yes. The only reason I don't attempt it myself is because there might be a hidden seal I can't see or don't know of, and because my brush strokes aren't good enough yet to try it without making one area weaker than another, possibly harming you from my own lack of skills, but I can talk to Gigi about asking Jiraiya to come back to Konoha, and when he does we can meet with him and discuss it, and then once he agrees with what I found then we can remove it for why, as he was stopped by Anko jumping across the table and kissing him passionately, shocking Tenten and Kurenai. Naruto was frozen in place, and after Anko let go, she said seductively, if you need a live demonstration on any of those questions you want to ask, I'll be more than happy to demonstrate them on you. Naruto coughed and glanced at Tenten who was gaping and said, I don't think a live demonstration will be required, but thanks for the offer. What was that for, if I might ask? Anko plopped down beside him and wrapped her arm around him and said, you're my new plushie. This seal has been ruining my life for years, and nobody has tried to come up with a way to remove it, but you have given me hope that someday soon the seal will be gone. For that you have my eternal gratitude, Gaki. If you need anything, all you have to do is ask, and I'll get it for you, Gaki. Saying anything seductively, Kurenai smacked her head and said, Anko, he's already seeing someone. Right. As she looked at Tenten. Tenten said, actually Naruto said we're just friends for now. She saved my life when I had a training accident and been visiting me in the hospital the past couple of days I was there, and when I got out earlier I wanted to repay her for saving my life, so we came here to get the hay where the rest of my dango go. Anko began to whistle innocently and said what? As everyone looked at her. Kurenai said, oh, I thought with the way you and her were talking about some kiss earlier that you were dating. Naruto winced as Tenten glared at him, and she said he did kiss me, but that was because he thought he was dying from his training accident, and he might have if I hadn't have gotten him to the hospital so soon. He had internal bleeding inside his skull, with blood coming out of his eyes, ears, nose and mouth. At this Anko and Kurenai eyes widen and Anko asked what the hell kind of training were you doing to cause that kind of damage, Gaki? Naruto sighed and looked around and whispered, look, the only reason I'm going to tell you this is because Tenten seems to trust you both and you're both willing to help me, so I'm starting to trust you both. Also, the Yondaime didn't actually leave me notes but instead, he sealed all his knowledge of seals into a seal that I recently activated that downloaded all his years of knowledge on seals into my head at one time, causing mental feedback and caused my brain to swell, nearly killing me. With that knowledge added to what I've been learning myself by having my Kage bunch and experimenting with seals every day, finding out what happens when you do this to that and what that does when placed here, my seal knowledge is probably high chunnin to low jounin already, and the more I can go through the memories he gave me then the better I will get. Anko said, damn, talk about a gift. Naruto said, yeah, but please don't tell anyone. I don't want people thinking that I only gotten my skills because of the Yondaime giving me his memories. I have several Kage Bunshin working all day long every day studying seals, practicing drawing and experimenting, finding the ins and outs of seals even before I got his memories, and I never asked for these memories, they were given to me without my consent, just like Furball, and both have caused me pain and suffering with very little reward so far. Kurenai said, you hate him, don't you? The way you spat out the words Yondaime and his earlier makes it sound like you hate him. Naruto frowned and looked down and after a few seconds said, do you honestly want to know that answer? Tenten saw the hurt look in Naruto's eyes and said, I do. Naruto said, I want to hate him, I desire to hate him. He sealed a demon inside me that has caused me to live a life of pain, suffering and loneliness. He tried to dictate my future by placing me in 2 arranged marriages. He set me up to receive his memories without explaining it to anyone, nearly causing my death. He was incompetent with a seal that would have let me have my mother in my life, and it was only after 15 years that I finally met my mother for the first time. He left me with no home, no money, no one to look after me when I needed someone most, and I want to pay him back for every ounce of pain I have felt because of him, but how can I hate the man who helped give me life? As he got up and began to leave. It took only a couple of seconds for Kurenai and Anko to understand what he meant by his last statement, and both their eyes widened as they looked at his retreating back, and both looked at Tenten, who was looking at Naruto sadly, and Kurenai said, what did he mean by that? Tenten frowned and said, nothing, don't worry about it, I need to get going to see Dad. I haven't been home since yesterday. As she got up, but Kurenai and Anko placed their hands on her shoulders and pushed her back down, and Anko said, hold up, Buns. You owe Nia and me for all the tips and advice we went out of our way to give you over the years. The least you can do is tell us what's going on. Tenten bit her lip and sighed and said, all right, but you can't tell most of this because it will either get me or him in trouble, and can we go someplace more private? Both ladies nod, leading her to Kurenai's home, and when they got there Tenten began to explain what all has been happening since the day of the Forbidden Scroll. By the time she finished, Anko and Kurenai were completely floored, and Anko said, whoa, that's some fucked up shit. Kurenai said, so you're an heiress to a clan? Tenten said, yes, but please don't tell anyone. I don't even know that much about my clan in the first place. In fact, I learned more from Kushina about my clan's history than I did my own dad. I still need to bust his balls over that though. Kurenai said, all right, Tenten. Naruto, someone Konoha and Kunuchi's need badly on our side. The things he are trying to do are too great to ignore, so I am going to put him on the red list. Anko and Tenten eyes widened and Tenten said, the red list, but that's Kurenai said, I know. Every Kunoichi Academy student on up, active, injured or retired will see it, and when I put down what all he is doing, things will change for the better for him. He trusts you. If anything happens or anyone causes him trouble, I want you to inform me or Anko immediately. Anko said, definitely. The Gaki is a gift from heaven. Tenten bit her lip and asked, please try to keep it for things he's actually done, not because of his parents. Kurenai said, I'll make sure that people respect him for his skills. We already have enough people getting smoke blowed up their asses for nothing. He deserves this though. Tenten said, all right, I need to get going. It's getting late. Anko said, I will walk you out. As she got up and walked Tenten to the door, and after Tenten left, Anko looked at Kurenai and said, the red list. You sure you want to do that? Kurenai said, yes. Anko shook her head and said, all right, let's work on what to put in the column without breaking our word. When Tenten got home, Dustin was sitting behind the counter and said, hello dear, how is he? Tenten said, oh, he's doing better, but you know Dad, I was thinking about how dangerous it is being a kunoichi, and I'm worried I might die a virgin, so I'm going to ask my fiancé to help me with that problem. I just hope he's at least longer than a Minuteman. Dustin looked shocked a few moments before he frowned and said, why do I think I know where this is going? Tenten said, it's true, isn't it? He's really my fiancé, and you slept with his mom and took her virginity. As she glared at her dad putting her hands on her hips. Dustin sighed and said yes, how did you find out? 1010 said Kushina, I met her. As she moved her head around and pointed toward the seal. Dustin was shocked and asked how. 1010 then explained about the ceiling and about meeting Kushina and saving Naruto before she said so now Naruto and I are going to be friends and get to know each other before we decide anything else. As she crossed her arms across her chest. Dustin looked down and said 1010 there's something I think you should know. 1010 said really like what else could you tell me that pales in comparison to the fact I'm engaged to someone I only just met though I was supposed to grow up with him. Dustin sighed and said it's the secret that Kushina is still keeping from Naruto, it's the reason why the Mizukage sent an assassin here to kill her which resulted in her condition and your mother's death. The reason is as he explained it to her. I know am I not cruel not telling you this, but the reason is you will learn it when Naruto does. Meanwhile across town in the woods Naruto ignoring the words of the Sandame was slashing at a Kage Bunshin with his sword who was deflecting with the other sword and Naruto thought damn it I want to hate him but can't. Chapter 7. Over the next couple of days, Naruto began to notice a change in the village. The first surprise when he was awoke at his door by a woman he recognized as a grocery store owner and she said hello Uzumaki-san. Naruto said, hello Mrs. Ito, can I help you with something? The woman smiled and said not really but you see my store had a contest going on and your name was put into the drawing and you won so here is your reward. Inside this scroll is a month's worth of food. I hope you find good use of it. Naruto blinked and said I don't remember entering any contest. The woman said oh well someone must have put your name in the box for you then. It doesn't matter here is a receipt showing you one in case you have any doubt about it. Also feel free to come shop at my store anytime you want. As she handed Naruto the scroll receipt and quickly left. Naruto blinked as he looked at the receipt and thought okay, I wonder if the food's poisoned or fresh wow it is fresh and I don't see any signs of being messed with on the canned food and the other items look good also. Later on when Naruto was walking down the street he noticed he was getting smiles and nods from some of the women of the village and he thought what's going on. 1010 shook her head as she read a magazine in her hand and thought they really did put him on the red list. It still blows my mind that there is a secret code known to Kunoichi that is encoded in the border around the items in this magazine. It looks like it's just a magazine on fashion and flowers, but the flowers are in fact a code based on what flower and color they are is what letter they represent and the vines are spaces between words. 1010 was broke from her thought as the bell rang over the door to her family business and she looked up and blinked as she saw Naruto and closed her magazine and said what are you doing here Naruto? Naruto said well, I was wondering if you wanted to spar today in Kenjutsu. 1010 said I would like to, but I don't get off until 3. Could we do it after that? Naruto said sure, I was wondering if I could get 2 more of these swords. Motioning to the swords on his back. 1010 said, but you already have 2. Naruto said, I know I'm thinking about learning double swords or at least to learn to use my sword in either hand so I thought that if I had a Kage Bunshin use 2 and I use 2 it would help me learn it quicker. 1010 said I'm sure, but remember you're supposed to be taking it easy on training for the next day or so. Naruto said I know, but one Kage Bunshin isn't going to hurt me when all it is doing mostly is swinging a sword. 1010 frowned and went to the back and came out with a scroll and asked, are you paying for this or are you putting it on your tab? Naruto said tab for now until I can start missions again. 1010 nods and pulls out the ledger before she showed the new balance to Naruto and she asked so anything else? Naruto bit his lip and said you haven't noticed anything strange going on have you? 1010 said no, but I've been here all day since the Hokage gave my team today off before we start missions again why? Naruto scratched his head and said well things have been off today. 1010 asked oh how so? Naruto said, well, this lady who runs the grocery store down the block here came by my place and gave me a scroll full of free food and claimed I won some contest her store was having but I never entered the contest then there's all fast looks I'm getting from the woman of the village, not all of them, but pretty much anyone who appears to have been a Kunoichi at one time or another. 1010 said, oh how can you tell who used to be Kunoichi? Naruto said mom spent most of the night teaching me about my bloodline when I slept last night. I'm still not very good, but I can at least tell someone who is at least a genin when they are within 10 feet of me by their chakra levels, but I am having to focus on it a lot to do it. 1010 nods and thought shit did him getting on the red list change people that much? And said well maybe people are starting to see you for you. Naruto scrunched his nose and said maybe, but I didn't think people could change that easily. Tenten waved her hand and said just ignore them and go back to living your life, Naruto. Odds are someone started a rumor that you're some kind of lost prince or something. You know how rumors are around this town. And thought shit, did I just say that? I helped start the rumor by telling Kurenai and Anko. Naruto thought a moment and said I guess you're right anyways about last night, sorry for leaving you and those other two ladies like that. It's just Tenten held up her hand and said Naruto stop, I already know and can understand where you're coming from. Your dad is a touchy subject for you, but you do have to remember he was your father, better or worse. There's things about my dad I don't like, but he is my family. You have only just recently found out about your family, so it's harder on you, so don't try to explain why you had to leave last night. Just know that if you need someone to talk to, I'm all ears. Naruto smiled and said thanks, so I guess I'll see you this afternoon then. Tenten said yeah, Dad ordering our supplies and paying the bills today, but when he gets back I'll come up the mountain to see you so we can practice, just don't tire yourself out because I plan to beat you this time. Naruto smirked and said in your dreams. As he laughed, running out the store as Tenten pulled out a kunai and thought smartass. Before putting it back where she got it. That afternoon when Tenten arrived at the woods a little after 3 behind the Hokage monument, she saw Naruto sitting on his knees with all 4 blades around him and he had his eyes closed and said you can come out Tenten, I know you're there. Tenten walked out from behind the tree she was hiding behind and said so what's up? Naruto said just thinking how much of a drag it is to have my Kage Bunshin go up with a solid hint and then my weapon could be used against me like you did last time. Tenten said yeah, I guess that could be a drag, but I don't think there is anything you could do about it, so how do you want to do this? Naruto said one sword for now, kenjutsu only. Let's start off slow and work our way up on speed. I'll create a Kage Bunshin to watch us, and if he sees any openings he can point them out and we can see if we can fix them or if they are on purpose. Tenten thought and said sure. Nobody on my team uses kenjutsu, so I haven't really had a chance to learn much on swordplay. As she grabbed one of Naruto's swords and took a stance and blinked as she saw the stance Naruto was in and asked what's that? Naruto smirked and said the first kata of the Uzumaki kenjutsu style. Mom told me she knows most of your clan's style also for swords so she could show you them also if you want to learn them. I only got the first kata for mine memorized though. Tenten nods and charges at Naruto who blocks before they begin to slash and block each other, slowly picking up speed as the Kage Bunshin on the side every now and then would call out something in one or the other's directions. Several hours later, Tenten was holding the handle of the sword that was in the ground and she was panting and Naruto was leaning forward panting holding his sword to keep his balance and Tenten said damn what a workout. Naruto laughed and said I can't believe how much fun that was. Tenten laughed lightly and said yeah, it's like we really didn't have to say anything to have fun together. Naruto snorts and said, or better yet, my Kage Bunshins learned to not to say things like that, but he was right. Tenten glared and said my ass does not bounce when I block. Naruto fell back on his butt and said if you say so, so did you learn anything? Tenten sat down and said yeah, my slashes are too slow and my jabs leave too many openings. What the hell was with that reverse slash you did when you reversed hands in the middle of a slash? It nearly took off my head. Naruto thought a moment and said I don't know really. I knew when you blocked my jab and forced my arm away into that slash it left me wide open and defenseless, so I used my other hand to grab my elbow to stop moving and grabbed the handle for my blade when it was nearly stopped so I didn't have to work so hard to get it back in position to block. Tenten said I've read about a move like that before in an old book about samurais, except the samurai rolled with the swing and brought the strike around twice as fast as the original slash. Something about gusting winds or something like that. I don't really remember. Naruto said I had fun today. Tenten smiled and said so did I. It's strange I've actually had more fun today than I have in a long time. Naruto was quiet for a few minutes before he asked, did you ask your dad about the arrangement? Tenten frowned and said yeah, he told me some stuff. I think I know what your mom is keeping from you, but I don't want to say anything since dad wasn't completely sure about it. Naruto frowned and asked is it something bad? Tenten said well, no and yes. If I'm right then I know why the Sandai Mizukichi wanted your mom dead, and if he's still in office may want you dead as well, but if people find out about it here in Konoha then they may start to treat you like they treat the Uchiha. Naruto frowned and asked, but what do you think about it? Tenten bit her lip and said honestly, it doesn't matter to me. You're you. Naruto, who had looked down, smiled a real smile and said, "Ten, even if things don't work out between us and we never become more than just friends, I want you to know that you are special to me. I don't know how to describe what I feel for you, but you make all the pain, all the loneliness, everything I've ever felt bad about go away, and you make me not care about what anyone else thinks." Ten blushed and said, "Naruto, damn it Naruto, do you know how frustrating you can be? A few weeks ago I was content with my life being on my team with Nijiko and Lee and Gai-sensei, but now did you know that Niji stopped me on the way here today? He asked me if I wanted to have dinner with him tonight." Naruto's eyes widened slightly, and he looked down and said, "Oh, I guess you probably want to go get ready then." A rock hit him in the head and he screamed, "Ow, what the hell was that for?" as he rubbed his head. Ten said, "Idiot. I wasn't finished. I told him that I would like to, but I had plans with you already this afternoon and I wasn't going to cancel them. A few weeks ago I would have taken that offer in a heartbeat, but today I turned it down without feeling guilty at all, and do you know why?" Naruto shook his head no, and Ten said, "Because of you. Your parents named you perfectly when they named you Naruto. You're a living maelstrom. When I'm with you, I see the effects you have on everything around you as you move everything in every direction around you, and I can't help but feel the effects on myself as well. It's frustrating because you came into my life like a storm and you leave your mark on everything in my life." Naruto said, Ten said, "Shut up and let me finish, damn it." As she grabbed her head in frustration before she looked at Naruto and said, "I've never told anyone that I am a clan heiress because I've seen those heiress in your class how they are treated like princess, and I don't want that. I wanted to earn the respect I got and not have it handed to me just because of who I was born to. You know about that, and yet you don't treat me like a princess. You treat me as you would anyone else, even Niji would treat me different if he found out." As she shook her head, she looked up at the sky and said, "I have a love for weapons. It's the only real link I have to my clan because my clan does have a bloodline. It allows us to use any weapons perfectly. No matter the size, shape or weight of the weapon, our bodies adapt to use that weapon. It's not an instant ability, but there is no weapon we can't learn to use with practice. People have made fun of me for my love of weapons, including my own teammates, to the point I only use standard shurikens and kunais unless absolutely necessary, but with you I don't have to fear and feel. I can use anything and everything on me." Naruto said, "You shouldn't hide who you really are to make others feel better." Ten gave Naruto a pointed look and said, "You're one to talk. Whiskers, by the way, are those real or are they just scars?" Naruto scratched his head and said, "I think they might be real, somewhat. They're sensitive." Ten walked over and said, "Really, you mind if I touch them? I've wanted to but didn't want to upset you." As she looked at his cheeks, Naruto said, Sure, go ahead. Nobody ever real ly." As his eyes glossed over as Ten began to rub his whiskers. Ten watched and Naruto reached up and grabbed her hand fast and whispered in a panting breath, "Stop, please." Ten asked in a soft, worried voice, "Why?" Naruto looked at her and Ten felt herself get flushed in the face from the look of lust in Naruto's eyes, and he said, "Because it's taking every ounce of control. I have to stop myself." Ten got down on her knees and asked in a quiet voice, "Stop yourself from what?" Naruto looked at her and he leaned forward and started to kiss her when she closed her eyes slightly but enough to still see him, but at the last second he moved his head to her neck and put his forehead on her shoulder and gasped out, "I think you should go, Ten, if not then we will never be just friends." Ten, who felt his head on her shoulder and felt his body trembling, bit her lip as she saw his body shake and asked why. As she remained frozen in place, Naruto bit his lip and whispered, "Because every ounce of my being is screaming at me to take you as mine. Your scent in my nose, your heat against my skin, your breath on my hair, it's driving me crazy. Please go before it's too late." As he moved his hands that were in fist into the ground, Ten closed her eyes and she thought, I wanted Niji, but why would he now ask me out after all this time? Is it he's finally fallen for me, or is it because he's jealous of Naruto? Naruto, you baka, why do you have to be so you? As she slowly stood up and took a step back as Naruto kept his head down and Ten bit her lip and said, "Naruto, look at me." Naruto slowly looked up at her and she said, I have something. I want you to do something that only you can do." Naruto asked quietly, "What?" Ten said, "Right now you and I are so caught up in our emotions over everything that has happened that neither of us are thinking straight. I want you to find yourself. You have hidden yourself from the world for so long you don't even know who you are, just as I have been doing by denying who and what I am all these years. I'll speak with my sensei and ask him to watch over us as we spar in case we get injured once a week when we meet, and we will work on getting better in our kenjutsu skills and seeing how each other are doing. He'll be our chaperone to make sure we don't do something we're not ready for. Also, I know you had a crush on that pink-haired girl for a while, but she doesn't appear to feel the same way. I do know there is someone else who does like you, but I won't tell you who." I want you to take a step back and look at those around you and try to find a girl to hang out with besides me. See if the feelings you have for me are the same as her, and if so, see if they are just you wanting friendship or more. I'm going to go on a date with Niji since I have liked him for a while and want to see where that goes, but I will still be your friend and I will not choose him over you, and on the days we decide to train together I will put you first. Will you agree to that? Naruto thought a moment and nods, and Tenten smiled and said good, now stand up and close your eyes. Naruto blinked and asked huh? Tenten said just do it. Naruto got up and closed his eyes, and a moment later his eyes widened as he saw Tenten step back, and she said that's the first kiss I have ever given a guy. You gave me my first kiss from a guy, and I gave you my first kiss to a guy. No matter what happens in the future, those are two memories that I will cherish for the rest of my life. Naruto smiled a real smile and said those were both mine as well, and I'll cherish them as well. Tenten smiled and said it's getting late and I need to get home. Naruto asked, do you want me to walk you home? Tenten thought a moment and said no, not today. I need some time to think to myself. Good night. As she turned and left. Once she was gone, Naruto whispered good night. As he picked up his swords and looked at them, remembering what Tenten said, and thought there's nothing I can do about it for now. Over the next few days Naruto spared with his Kage Bunshin while one observed them and another Kage Bunshin was working on a seal array. Finally the day came where Naruto could return to missions. When he arrived at Training Ground 7 he noticed Sasuke and Sakura both were practicing water walking, and he raised an eyebrow and said did I miss much? Causing both to lose their concentration and fall into the water. Sakura sputtered as she got up and screamed Naruto. As she started to stomp toward Naruto, drawing her fist back. Naruto rubbed two of his fingers on one hand together against the thumb of that hand where a seal was on each finger as he saw her approach, but Sasuke grabbed her shoulder and said Sakura stop, it was our own fault for getting distracted doing that exercise. Naruto blinked and said okay, who are you and what happened to the team? Sasuke glared at Naruto and said Kakashi-sensei told us that you've been working and training yourself so hard that you put yourself in the hospital from complete exhaustion, which is why you were in the hospital and then had a couple days to rest. I may think you're an idiot for working yourself that far without taking care of yourself, but I can respect you for it as well. I hate to admit it, but I tried to do what you've been doing and I could only make it 3 days before I began crashing, and you've been doing it a lot longer. Naruto rubbed his head and said thanks, I think so. Kakashi-sensei showed you both the water walking exercise. Sakura said yes. He said we finally got good enough with the tree climbing, the exercise wouldn't do us much good besides building up our reserves, and water walking would do it faster. We've been using the idea of going one step at a time to get it faster. Naruto nods and said anything else. Kakashi, who arrived in a swirl of leaves, said nope, since we couldn't do missions I had them working on their chakra reserves and stamina. How are you feeling, Naruto? Naruto said better, but worse, I did meet my mom though. Shocking Kakashi, Sasuke, and Sakura. Kakashi said Kushina-sama. When, where? Sakura asked how do you know her name, Kakashi-sensei? Kakashi frowned realizing his slip, and Naruto waved his hand and said it's alright, Sensei Gigi was going to be releasing that info soon anyways since I found out I'm in 2 arranged marriages. Kakashi said to who? Sounding surprised. Naruto said well, I won't tell you who they are yet because I've only actually contacted one, and we have decided to get to know each other first since neither of us are thrilled about not having a choice in our own futures. I've worked up an arrangement where if we decide that marriage between us is out then the deal will be cancelled and no hard feelings. As for the other, it's actually with the Kazekage daughter. Causing all 3 other members of Team 7 to nearly faint. Sasuke asked why are you engaged to 2 women and especially with one like the Kazekage daughter? Naruto said I do got a bloodline and I am a member of a clan like Kakashi-sensei hinted, so I fall under the clan restoration law like you, or I will once it becomes public knowledge, and as for the Kazekage daughter, it was something the Yondaime Hokage set up, so I can't say much for now. I'm expecting a reply to find out if it's still active or not. I'm kind of hoping not, but as he shrugged his shoulders and looked away. Sasuke said why would you not want to marry someone as influential as the Kazekage daughter? Naruto blinked and looked at Sasuke for several moments, and Sasuke got tired of it and asked what. Naruto said Sasuke, which is more important, power of emotions. Sasuke said power. Emotions get in the way of completing your mission, while power can only help your mission. Naruto turned his head catching Kakashi eye, who he could tell understood the depth of that question, and said it's just because I'm an idiot, Sasuke. I'd rather marry a weak powerless woman than a strong powerful princess if it meant that I had love from the woman and no love from the princess. I guess that was why you were Rookie of the Year and I was dead last, huh? Sasuke shrugged and said, if you say so. I think you're just a baka. Naruto nods and said, hey Kakashi-sensei, how many different elemental jutsu can you do? Kakashi asked why. Naruto said, I came up with idea for a new seal I'm working on, but I need to test it against several different types of jutsu from the different elements to see how it works or don't work. Kakashi said, well I can do jutsu for all the elements, but they may be of different strengths if I don't have affinity to some. What's the seal supposed to do? Naruto saw the looks everyone was giving him and said, I'd rather not say until it's finished. I don't want people make fun of me if it doesn't work. Sakura said, we wouldn't laugh at you, we're your teammates. Naruto smiled and said thanks, but Ino might get curious and use her clan jutsu on you to find out how strong you are, since I heard that she is also working on water walking so she could try and impress Sasuke and might learn about it, and you know how she is with gossip. Sakura frowned and said, yeah, I guess you're right. And thought Ino you better not be. Kakashi said, well, if you need help like that I could use all 5 elements in different strengths to test it for you, but I would have to ask a few questions about it before we did cause I don't want to get blown up or something. Naruto said, fair enough, and it will be a little while as I want to fine-tune it before I test it. So what are we doing today? Kakashi said, I had already checked with the Hokage and got our mission and we are repairing and painting a fence. Come on. Naruto smiled as he began to follow Kakashi, and Sakura asked, so where has your mom been all these years, Naruto? Naruto looked down as they walked and said, before I was born the Sandaime Mizukage sent an assassin to kill my mother and he used a poison on her that began to weaken her body and nearly killed her the day I was born. For my protection she was forced to leave to draw attention away from here in case the Mizukage sent another assassin to finish the job. There's more to it than that, but I'm not allowed to say. Sasuke said, but why not change your name? I mean, if she did it for your protection it would be kind of stupid to leave your last name the same. Naruto said, true, but since mom was the clan heiress and my father was an orphan himself when they were married, he took her clan name as his own, but only about 10 people ever knew of the marriage since it was a secret marriage. If anyone were to come looking for an Uzumaki they would look for red hair and most likely green eyes, not blonde hair and blue eyes that I got from dad. Sakura asked as they entered town, who is your father and what exactly is your bloodline, Naruto? Is it that chakra sensing thing? Naruto said, my dad was connected to Jiraiya of the Sannin spy network and for security reason related to that I am not allowed to say his name without Jiraiya my mother or the Sandaime's approval, since the information about my dad could indirectly be linked back to others connected to his spy network. If you doubt me you can ask Kakashi-sensei since he is aware of that fact as well from what I've been told. Kakashi, who had a smile behind his mask at the way Naruto dodged the question, said yes. It's an S-rank secret because of the connection to the spy network and speaking about it could be considered treason. I ask that both of you just accept that as an answer and not bother Naruto about it unless he tells you himself, meaning he's been given permission. Sasuke and Sakura nods and Sasuke asked, what about the bloodline dobe? Is it that chakra sensing thing? Naruto sighed and said, actually mom only told me a little bit about my bloodline. She told me until she thinks I'm strong enough to protect myself she won't tell me much about it, but she did tell me a few things about it that I can tell you. The first is the chakra sensing ability is actually only a side effect of the bloodline. It's not an active bloodline but a passive one. What it actually does though, I don't know, but she told me that it's the reason the Sandaime Mizukage sent an assassin to kill her because he feared it. Kakashi blinked and said, really, does it have a name? Naruto said yes, but like I said mom won't tell me what it is yet. She just told me that it was given to us by the 6th realm sage and it was the first bloodline. Causing the other members of Team 7 to go wide-eyed. Kakashi looked at Naruto and Sasuke said, no way dobe. If it was the first then people would know about it. Naruto said, they do. Sasuke, why do you think my mom almost died? From what she told me it was known to everyone in the land of Whirlpool and was the reason the Sandaime Mizukage ordered the Hidden Mist village to attack and destroy the Whirlpool village. Sakura said, Whirlpool, I never heard of it. Kakashi said, I'm not surprised. A little over 20 years ago it was destroyed by the Hidden Mist village, as Naruto said. Very little is actually known about the Whirlpool village, but one fact that was known is that nearly every bloodline in the world originated from there, including the Senju Hyuga and Uchiha bloodlines. Sasuke's eyes nearly fell out of his head and said, are you sure? As he heard this, Kakashi nods and said your father tried desperately to get Kushina to marry into the Uchiha clan along with Hayashi and the Hyuga clan. Naruto blinked and said so the Hyuga know about my bloodline. As he frowned and thought if the Hyuga know about my bloodline could they be using Tenten and Neji somehow. Sasuke thought I must search my clan files to see if I can find out what his bloodline does. Kakashi said well, I can't say for sure if they know but they do know that the Uzumaki clan were the rulers of the Whirlpool village and all those with bloodlines that were there when the village was destroyed who might have escaped would follow the orders of the Uzumaki clan which there could have been a few that could have enhanced the powers of either bloodline. That was what I was told by your mother when I asked her once why she refused. Naruto nods and Sakura asked wait rulers, does that mean Naruto some kind of prince? Looking shocked. Naruto looked shocked as well and Kakashi said, I don't know maybe. Kushina-sama didn't like to talk about her past much and like Naruto had very little respect for authority unless she truly felt you earned it. Naruto said I am definitely asking mom about that later. As he put his hands together and said Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. A single clone appeared and Kakashi asked, was that the right amount you tried for Naruto? Naruto said yeah, my control seems a little better after my trip to the hospital. Maybe I really needed that rest more than I thought I did. It seems like I can get the right number about 60% of the time now. You know what to do. As he pulled out a scroll. The clone took the scroll and walked behind Naruto and unsealed a brush and some ink and quickly drew a seal on Naruto's neck near the other seal and he said seal. As he sent a chakra pulse to the new seal and both seals vanished. Sasuke said where did they go? Naruto said, oh they are still there but the one I just made makes it where they won't appear unless I release it and it makes it where all seals on my body are that way. As he sent a look to Kakashi. Kakashi nods and said, but what happens if you need to release it and can't like you're injured? Is there a way for someone else to release it? Naruto said blood sensei my blood will dispel it. It's just a simple genjutsu seal really though since it was created by seals instead of hand signs it can't be seen through. It could still be detected so enough catching up about me. Where is our mission at Kakashi-sensei? Kakashi said actually we are here. As he motioned to a yard with a fence and Naruto paled as he saw what yard it was and thought fuck not her. The door opened and a woman stepped out. Naruto instantly recognized and thought shit Kami why do you hate me? The woman looked at them and smiled and said hello you must be the team sent to work on my fence. As her eyes landed on Naruto for a moment who looked at her while his eyes darted slightly to the left and right looking for danger. The woman walked forward and said is there something wrong Uzumaki-san? As she saw his eyes looking around. Naruto said no Tsubaki-sama. In his best polite voice while the members of Team 7 seemed shocked. Tsubaki said I see well the supplies are all over there so I'll leave you to your duties. As she pointed to a stack of wood paint cans hammers and a few other things before she turned and walked back into the house. After Tsubaki walked inside Sakura turned and asked what the hell was up with that Naruto. You're never respectful to anyone so why did you show her respect? Naruto frowned and said just drop it Sakura. As he walked over to the supplies and put his hands together and said Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. As 10 Kage Bunshin appeared and Naruto said alright watch your step don't break anything grab the supplies and let's get this finished as fast as possible. As he grabbed a hammer. Kakashi narrowed his eye as he looked at Naruto before moving to sit down to read his book but also where he could see the house and Naruto at the same time and thought something's not right here. As he saw Sasuke and Sakura getting busy as well. 45 minutes later, Tsubaki walked out with a tray with 4 glasses and she walked toward Naruto with the tray and said would you like some water Uzumaki? Naruto said thank you Tsubaki-sama. Does it matter which glass? Tsubaki said not really. Naruto nods and took one of the glasses and put it to his lips and then acted like he was swallowing. He said thank you Tsubaki-sama. As he put the glass down beside him and got back to work. Tsubaki then walked over to Sasuke and Sakura before offering the last glass to Kakashi who took it and whispered is there something I should know about between you and my student Chunin? Tsubaki said nothing that will interfere with your mission. As she turned and walked back toward the house when Naruto screamed ow. Grabbing his hand he hit with a hammer and knocking the glass of water over as well. Sasuke said be more careful Dobe. Kakashi got up and walked over to Naruto as Tsubaki came over and asked are you alright Uzumaki? Naruto said yeah, just had an accident. It looks like I accidentally spilled my water though. As he picked up the glass and looked at it and said but I didn't break the glass. Tsubaki said I can see that. Would you like a new one? Naruto said thank you, but that won't be necessary. We won't be much longer, and I would hate to cause you any discomfort. Tsubaki nods and Kakashi said let me see your hand Naruto. From where he stood behind her before Tsubaki started back toward the house. After she was a few feet away, he whispered why did you hit your hand on purpose Naruto? I saw you hit it where you wouldn't break anything. What's going on? As he examined Naruto's hand. Naruto whispered she's Mizuki team fiancé and she blames me for him being put in prison and she threatened to kill me unless I confessed Mizuki was innocent and I was responsible. I thought the water was poisoned but she let me pick which one I chose first, which meant she could have poisoned Sasuke Sakura or you, and then I thought I might be in a jinjutsu and there was a trap here so I broke it the only way I know how which is pain but it wasn't a jinjutsu. Kakashi nods and said let's get finished then and get out of here. I don't think she will do anything while I'm here and she may have been just upset at the time since she loved Mizuki. Naruto bit his lip and said maybe. But I don't want to push my luck. As he got back to work. Inside the kitchen looking out, Tsubaki frowned as she removed the chakra from her ears and thought I was upset since I love Mizuki but maybe I was too hard on him. Maybe it was Mizuki's fault but. As she bit her lip. After Team 7 finished the mission and began heading back toward the Hokage Tower, Kurenai walked out of a store and saw them and said hey Kakashi, how's it going? Kakashi said you say something. Kurenai glared at him a moment before she looked at Naruto and said hello Naruto, it's good to see you again. Naruto smiled and said it's nice to see you as well Kurenai-sensei, how are you today? Kurenai said fine. I was wondering when you wanted to ask those questions for that seal you're designing. Tenten told us you were still recovering the other night when you had to leave and figured you were trying to go get some rest. Naruto rubbed his head and said yeah something like that, are you busy today? Kurenai said no, I'm available since my team are each practicing with their clans today. Why? Naruto looked back at Kakashi and said Kakashi-sensei, can we make a small detour to my apartment for a few minutes? Just a few minutes. I wrote down all the questions I need answers to that seal I am making and Kurenai-sensei was going to help me and I could just give her the scroll to work on when it's available for her to, that is if you don't mind coming by my place for a few minutes to get it. As he turned to Kurenai at the end. Kurenai shrugged and said I don't see a problem with it, but what about your teammates? I mean if you're still on active duty, then I don't want to get you in trouble. Naruto waved his hand and said no I actually got something I was wanting to show both Sasuke and Sakura anyways, and I guess this is as good a time as any please Kakashi-sensei this is important to me. As he shot a pleading look to Kakashi. Kakashi said sure why not. Maybe you could ask Kurenai also about pointers on breaking Genjutsu sometime instead of breaking them through pain. At least I'll have a valid excuse as to why I'm late this time. With a nice smile. Naruto laughed and said well, would you like me to carry your bags for you Kurenai-sensei since it's a few blocks to my place and you're doing this as a favor to me? It's the least I can do. Kurenai laughed and said sure, it's nice to find a gentleman with all the perverts around. As she handed Naruto the bags she had while shooting a glare at Kakashi. Naruto said come on guys follow me. As he began to walk away. Sakura crossed her arms and said he could have asked if we wanted to come or not. Kakashi said Sakura, I'm sure whatever it is he wants to show you must be important or at least he thinks will be important, so what seal is he making for you Kurenai? Kurenai said it's not actually for me, but for all kunoichi. It's an anti-rape seal that will allow kunoichi to break free of bindings, restore our chakra, put a shield of wind-natured chakra around us, and increase our strength and speed for a few minutes, giving us a chance to escape or kill our capturers. Making Sakura looked up at Kurenai as Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Kakashi said really now, so he really is working on that. I thought it was just a passing thought. While Sasuke and Sakura were looking more shocked hearing Kakashi. Kurenai said actually you should hear about some of his other works, he's figured out how to remove Anko seal. Kakashi, I went wide and asked are you sure? In a serious voice. Kurenai said yes. All we are waiting on to do it is for Jiraiya-sama to arrive to verify his research to make sure there are not little traps that he didn't find when he examined it. Kakashi said, I see he's progressing faster than I thought he could. I'll have to see about getting those other books and scrolls I promised him on seals. As they walked up a set of stairs on the outside of an apartment building and Naruto was running blood across the door while sending chakra to the handle and Sakura asked what are you doing? Naruto said, I put security seals around all the windows and doors to my apartment, making it where no one can enter it without my permission. I ask that you all keep quiet about what you are about to see. Sasuke asked why. Naruto said, just please keep quiet about it. As he opened the door and walked in. The others soon followed and were surprised to see 10 desks in a row, each with a clone of Naruto at the desk writing on a scroll in front of each of them, and the group began to look around and saw scroll after scroll after scroll all over the place in different cabinets with different colors on the cabinets, and Sakura said, what's with all the scrolls? Each of the Naruto looked up and looked at Naruto, who said, just ignore them and get back to work. The clones nodded and started back writing, and Kurenai asked, what's going on here, Naruto? Naruto sighed and said, I've got so many projects going on, it seems like I'm forgetting more than I am learning, so what I've been doing is creating 10 clones every morning when I get ready to leave. One clone stays here while the others head out to either work on seals research at the libraries, work on chakra control, work on elemental control jutsu, and a few other projects I am working on. When they get to wherever they are working, they create more Kage Bunshin who began to work on whatever it is they are doing, and every 10 minutes one of them dispels and transfer back its memories to me and the other clones, so I have the clone who stayed here create a team that began to record whatever it was they learned or have learned before now. If I didn't have it wrote down yet, worked on or discovered, with each desk being assigned a specific subject like that one right there at the black desk is seals, the blue desk is medical knowledge, the white desk is jutsu, green desk is elemental affinities, and so on and so forth. The cabinets are also based on the same principle to organize all my scrolls so I can find what I am looking for easier now. Where did I put those questions? The clone doing seals said, third row, fifth to the right. Naruto walked over and said, here it is, thanks. As he walked over and handed the scroll to Kurenai, who opened it, and her eyes got wide and said, whoa, that is a lot of questions and very detailed at that. Naruto said, oh, that remind me. As he ran to another room and came back and said, I made this as a thank you for helping me with those questions. As he pulled out a tag. Kurenai looked at the tag and asked, what is it? Naruto said, I call it the dress sphere seal. Basically it's probably going to be even more popular with Kunoichi than the other seal I'm making. Suppose before you go to bed tonight you think over your schedule for the next day and you have tomorrow off, but you agreed to meet Anko for shopping in the morning and then you had a date to get ready for, and if your husband or boyfriend and you decided to continue the date, you would want to dress appropriate for it, and suppose you had an early morning mission the next day. Wouldn't having to change all those times from morning wear to civilian clothing to formal wear to sleepwear and then mission wear be sort of time consuming and a pain in the ass? Kurenai said, I suppose so, why? Naruto said, this seal when applied looks like a flower chain tattoo, but if you send chakra into the rose in the middle while also sending chakra into one of the 7 flowers around it, then you could change your cloths quickly while also giving you a wash to get cleaned up and blow dried, so all you would have to worry about was fixing your hair and makeup. This is basically a multiple storage seal where you put on an outfit and send chakra into one of the flowers besides the rose, and it will store the cloths you have on leaving you nude, where you could put another outfit on and store it, where you could store up to 7 different outfits, and changing between them is just by sending chakra from one to another. But if you send chakra into the rose in the middle, then you would wash your entire body and dry it in less than 60 seconds and be dressed at the end of it as well, so you could tell Anko you need to freshen up, walk in the bathroom, and boom, 60 seconds later you're in another outfit all ready for your date and having a shower and dried as well. Kurenai and Sakura eyes were wide as they looked at the seal Naruto was holding, and Sasuke and Kakashi were looking somewhat intrigued and surprised. Kurenai asked, have you tested it already? Naruto pulled up his sleeve slightly, showing a seal on his wrist, and he was covered in smoke and was now in an orange shirt and black pants before he was covered again, and then he was in a blue shirt and blue pants before he changed back to his regular cloths and said, yeah, I tried it and I plan to market it right after I get my seal master certification. Hopefully that will help give me a small source of income so I can work on other things without having to take so many missions. Sasuke asked, how does the bath and dry thing work, Dobe? Naruto said, well, when you activate it you close your eyes and take a deep breath and hold it, and basically what it will do is pull the water out of the air around you where you get covered head to toe in water like a layer of skin, and then a wind jutsu will push the water around the body where the water will wash any dirt, sweat, blood or anything else that is on you away, including makeup, and this lasts for 20 seconds, so you have to hold your breath for that long, and then it drops, it releases the water back into the air like condensations. Or was it convection? I don't remember the word, but it's like water evaporates back into the air, and you will have 10 seconds where it dries you, letting you release your breath and take another one before a 10-second water suit will cover you again just to make sure there was no little loose mud or other things that didn't have time to get properly clean before it releases and hits you with a minor wind jutsu with a minor fire manipulation in it to heat the air to dry you faster before you are covered in your new outfit. Sakura asked, can I have one of those, Naruto? We are teammates after all. Naruto looked at her and said, Sakura, I'm not actually giving this to Kurenai but paying her for the work she has put into helping me with something I am working on. I figure that it will take her about 4 hours at least to get through those questions, and I may have to ask her at a later date about some others that I am not aware of right now in order to help me with my research, so it's only right I try and compensate her for the help. Sakura asked, well, what about if I paid you? Naruto looked at her and said, how about a deal instead? Sakura asked, how, what kind of deal? Naruto turned and walked over to a section that had medical scrolls, and he picked up one and walked to the table in the middle of the room and said, don't tell Gigi about this seal or he would kill me to get the info on it. As he placed the scroll on seal on the table and he sent chakra to it and another scroll appeared across from it, shocking everyone, and Naruto put the first scroll back where he got it and said, that was my copy seal. I can make duplicate of any seal or scroll by simply placing it on that first seal, and a second one will appear, so that will help me when I start mass producing seals, since all I have to do is make a single perfect seal and then a little chakra and blank scroll or tags and boom, a perfect copy. Kakashi whistled and said, that would come in handy if you made exploding tags or storage scrolls. Naruto said, I know, which is why I'm making it an Uzumaki clan seal, because if it fell in the wrong hands it could be disastrous. Now, as for you, Sakura, first off, I want to say I am proud of you for all the hard work you have been doing to increase your chakra reserve, stamina, and all the other training you have done. You still have perfect chakra control, which is a good thing, but you have yet to learn anything that could be of actual use outside of dodging or a minor distraction. Making everyone wide-eyed. And Kurenai said, Naruto, don't you think you're being too hard on her? I mean, not everyone has the advantages that you have. Giving him a pointed look. Naruto said, please don't judge me completely until you hear what I am trying to say, because I am not actually trying to hurt her feelings or make her feel bad, but offer her a choice that would not only help her but our team in the long run. Please calm down and hear me out. As he held up his hands, Sakura gritted her teeth and said, fine. Let's hear it. Naruto said, right, as I was saying, right now you have the makings of someone who could go into Jinjutsu or medical, and I really don't know shit about Jinjutsu, but over the course of my studies I have come up with some seals as well as got my hands on information and jutsu for the medical field, and I was wanting to offer you a deal where I would give you this scroll to learn, which will give you all the information you need to learn to heal minor cuts and relieve pain. Once you have learned this scroll and can demonstrate it for 5 minutes, I have other scrolls for you to learn with more advanced jutsu and medical knowledge on healing broken bones and stopping internal bleeding, and I've got more advanced stuff than that, but most of that stuff I am unable to do myself, like the second stage stuff I mentioned, because of my lack of control. If you could learn to use all this, you would become a big asset on missions to help Sasuke, Kakashi-sensei, and me, since all three of us seem to be close to mid-range fighters in ninjutsu with either taijutsu or kenjutsu mixed in, so the chance of one or all three of us getting injured is high, and by having you able to heal us you could save our lives. Sakura's eyes lighted up and she asked, well, why didn't you say it like that in the first place instead of insulting me? Naruto said, you haven't heard the whole deal yet, and because Sakura, if I give you this info to help save our lives and Kakashi-sensei got wounded with several poison kunais that hit vital areas, I got my arm cut off and bleeding to death, and Sasuke got a broke leg, which one of us would you heal first? Sakura said, I don't know. Naruto shook his head and said, Sakura, you don't have to deny it. We all know that you would heal Sasuke first because of your romantic feelings toward him that would end up with me and Kakashi-sensei dying from our injuries, because you get tunnel vision and only see Sasuke when others need you more than he does. Sakura put her hands on her hips and said, I do not. Naruto looked at her and said, then why is it that when Sasuke and I both make a plan for a mission you will always side with him even when you have heard and seen over and over again that his plan would have failed? You think that Sasuke can do no wrong because... Naruto grabbed Sakura's fist that went for his head and he sighed, letting go of her hand and stepping back, and said, never mind. As he started to turn and stopped and said, hey Kurenai-sensei, do you think someone on your team might like this? I mean, I don't know if Shino or Kiba could use it, but Hinata might have the control to learn it. As he held up the scroll he made for Sakura. Sakura said, hey, what about me? Naruto looked at her and said, you say something. I thought that when you tried to punch me that was the end of the conversation. Why should I help someone become better who tries to hurt me when I try to give them helpful advice? Sakura became red and said, as she tried to find something to say. Naruto said, I know I'm not like that, I only tried to punch you because you pissed me off. Sasuke-kun is so much better than you, and you're just a baka. I've heard all of it before, Sakura, and I'm tired of being a punching bag. If you get pissed at me for saying a few words to you, what will you do when an enemy say things like even more hurtful or that will piss you off even more than what I am saying? Are you going to rush and half mad trying to hit them like you did me, only for them to kill you or capture you and later rape you? As he changed his voice to sound like Sakura for a few words, Naruto saw Sakura shocked by his words and said this is not a game. Sakura, Prince Charming doesn't always arrive at the last second to save the damsel in distress. I got curious after a friend of mine's daughter was raped and killed on a mission, and I broke into the record office in the Hokage Tower and looked up to see how often things like that happened. Yeah, don't look at me like that. It's not my fault village security sucks enough that a 10-year-old could get in there. Anyways, in 3 years' time, Sakura 311 kunoichi were raped with 490 kunoichi being killed, and a little over 100 disappeared on missions and were never seen again. I don't know how many of those 490 were raped before they were killed, but I bet it was more than half. I'm not trying to hurt your feeling, but I am trying to protect you, and what do I get for it? You try to punch me for trying to point out the simple fact that you and Ino are the two weakest physically and skilled members of our class, and I am trying to help you improve so someday if Sasuke balls ever do drop and he begins to like woman that you will be alive to try and get him. Sakura pursed her lips and Kurenai sighed and said, I hate to admit it, Sakura, but he's right and he is trying to do you a favor. In fact, this is something Kakashi should have talked to you about long before now. As she shot a glare at Kakashi, who said, you say something. Naruto sighed and said, look, I'll go ahead and make another copy of this scroll and give one to you and one to Kurenai-sensei to see if one of her students would be interested, and if one of you got good enough in skills, then you could help me test another seal I created. Sasuke asked, how many seals have you created? Naruto shrugged and said a little over 7,000 seals, ranging from simple storage seals to exploding tags that could kill a boss summon the size of Gambunto with all kinds of things in the middle. Most of them have actually been created by others, so I can't claim originality on them, but I doubt anyone else has created the dress shear seal or the anti-rape seal I am designing, and I really doubt anyone has created the medical one I created. Sakura, who was looking down thinking over what Naruto said after Kurenai claimed he was right, asked, what is the medical seal you are wanting to test? In a quieter voice. Naruto got an excited look and said, oh, this will probably be the most popular seal I ever create if this works the way I think it will. The number one problem that medic means face that cost lives is running out of chakra, while there are more who need help. As he ran over, pulled out a scroll and came back opening it up and said this seal acts like a battery, basically where a person sends chakra into it, and it can hold up to around mid-chunin chakra reserves, and it converts the chakra into healing chakra, so if a medic were to place a tag on their hands with this seal on it, then they could use the healing chakra inside the scroll to heal the patient instead of having to use their chakra, and all they actually have to do is control the chakra to direct it how they want to use it. Anyone could fill these seals up, so we could offer some of our more unhealthy ninja who should retire from missions before they die a job of filling these up and reward them by paying them for donating their chakra. If this works like I think it will, then it would be possible for a medic nin who use these seals to heal hundreds of patients before they ever have to touch their own chakra by simply changing tags when it runs out. The only downside is the seal is only as good as the person controlling the chakra, so if a person is only barely able to do any kind of medical jutsu like me, then I could use this whole thing up and only heal a few wounds. If Sakura were able to get good enough with her control, she could probably heal all three of us and not get tired. Kakashi asked, have you tested these yet? Naruto said, yeah, on a couple of fish, but I can only heal minor cuts, so I can't be sure if it can do the more advanced jutsu like I think it will. I thought about asking Sasuke fanboy, but I don't completely trust him. Sasuke blinked and asked, what fanboy? Naruto said, oh, right after we were assigned teams, I met a medic nin that is sort of obsessed with you on the level of most of your fan club, and I got him answering me questions about medical knowledge, either telling me the answers or telling me where to look for the answers in exchange for me giving him a little info on you. With a cheeky grin, Sasuke gritted his teeth and asked, and what kind of info has he been asking for? Naruto said, nothing much, I've actually downplayed some of the answers to keep him from knowing much about you since I don't completely trust him. He asks how much stamina you had if I could get him pictures of you nude, things like that. Kurenai said, you're pimping out your teammate. In a shocked voice, Naruto thought a moment and said, it's no different than if the Hokage asked you to sleep with an enemy ninja to get information. The info I am getting could save the lives of hundreds of Leaf Ninja, so I don't really see a difference since he seemed to get pleasure out of giving me info for what I do for him, while Kurenai, who was red-faced, screamed, enough, you're right, just I hate those kind of missions, but I have to agree there is no difference besides the fact that I am ordered to do it and you're doing it freely. Naruto said, true, but I also found something out that I don't think anyone else knows, which is why I don't completely trust the guy I'm getting medical info from. Kurenai said, I'm almost afraid to ask, but what is it? Naruto said, he's a spy for someone outside the village. With a smirk as everyone's eyes got wide, Kakashi looked at Naruto and asked, what makes you think that he's a spy, and why haven't you told the Hokage about this so far? Naruto said I can't tell Gigi because this guy is connected to some pretty influential people in the village and I suspect that both his teammates are also spies and they are both also well connected in the village, so if I were to tell Gigi my suspicion he would not be able to do anything due to who they are without some concrete proof, and if he were to investigate it, then either the people they are connected to would catch wind and speak to the three who would either then lay low for a while or try and find out who got suspicious of them and they would try to go after me or try to discredit me, which could cost me my ninja license, and since I don't have any other skills besides my ninja knowledge I won't be able to support myself, and because of who I am I can't leave and start a new life, so I have to wait until I can get concrete proof that can't be denied or explained. Kurenai frowned and said, so what makes you believe that they are spies, Naruto? Naruto said one has a curse seal even more advanced than Anko. Making Kakashi and Kurenai wide-eyed, and Sasuke and Sakura looked confused, and Sasuke asked what's a curse seal and who's Anko. Kakashi said, I'm afraid that's classified information, but are you sure, Naruto? Naruto said, I'm a censor, Kakashi-sensei, and while I'm not very good so far, I wasn't sure what it was I was feeling from him until I met Anko the other night and she showed me her curse seal. It feels like you have 2 different chakra in you so far. Someone with 2 chakras is not that hard to pick up on, though his isn't on his neck. It's around his heart. That sent the first flag up about this guy that made me look at him because Gigi called me into his office yesterday to ask about what I had found about the curse seal, since I think I can remove it. I guess either Anko or you, Kurenai-sensei, spoke to him about what I told you both. Kurenai nods and Naruto said, well, I just basically told him the same thing I told you both, and he asked me was there any chance that Orochimaru could use Anko seal for his immortality, jutsu don't ask classified. As he saw the looks on Kakashi, Sasuke and Sakura face as they heard Orochimaru and immortality jutsu, Naruto rubbed his neck and said, but since he didn't mention on anyone else but Anko, I believe she is the only person in the village he knows who has that seal, meaning either this guy got it and is trying to hide it out of fear, or Kakashi said, or he's working for or has worked for Orochimaru. Naruto said, yeah, and with the other things I found out about this guy from spending time with him, it's just too many red flags for me to ignore without looking into it. Sakura asked what other things. Naruto said, well, he's a genin, but he has chakra reserves as big as Kakashi-sensei and medical chakra control. While that could be explained, he doesn't like to fight and train to heal the fact that he's got these nin info cards on every person who's taken the Chunin exams for the last 6 times from every village, including mission history, medical history, teammates, graduation information, bloodlines, and where they rank in which fields is not something that a medic nin could get access to, not only from our village, but Tsunakumo missed Iwa and several dozen other villages. Iwa and Kumo would not give the Hokage that kind of information on their ninja, much less a genin. Kurenai pursed her lips and said that is suspicious and could be very difficult to explain. Is there anything else? Naruto said besides the fact he smells like snakes has a healing factor as good as mine. Both his teammates have artificial enhancements done to their bodies who also have high Chunin level reserves, and their sensei claims that he hasn't had to go on a mission with them in over 2 years and that they have surpassed him as medics and they have more combat knowledge than him as well. Nothing much. Kakashi frowned behind his mask and said, when you said artificial enhancement, what did you mean? Naruto looked at him and said, I met them in the hospital library after it was closed. What I don't like dealing with other people who think I'm not smart enough to learn anything they have that I could become better at, and I am also making a report to Gigi about places security around the village sucks at that enemy ninja could use to exploit. Kakashi said, we will discuss your stealth training later, get on with what you were saying about those 3. Naruto nods and said, anyways, I was in the hospital library at a back desk after it had been closed for the day, and I heard the door being unlocked and the 3 came in and were whispering something I couldn't make out when I accidentally sneezed. One of them made his arms stretch over 30 feet across the room and grabbed me from behind the bookshelf I was hiding behind and pulled me over to them. They asked me what was I doing there, and I told them I was trying to get information on some projects I was doing without revealing what it was exactly I was working on, and they asked me if I had heard what they were discussing, and I made a comment about being partially deaf from years of being in the class with the Uchiha fan club. What? As he saw the glare Sakura was sending him, Kakashi said, get on with it, Naruto. Naruto said, right as I was saying, they seemed amused by that and decided to help me with getting the info I needed, which was kind of funny since they are so much older than me. In fact, they should be around 5 or 6 when I was born, but I guess not everyone that old's been part of my pranks. Shooting a look at Kakashi and Kurenai, who got the hidden message, Naruto shrugged and said, anyways, I asked how he grabbed me like that and they seemed amused by my question, and one commented how he had his body enhances where he can dislocate all the bones in his body so he can make his body shrink into the size of his head by stretching it, so if his head could get into something then his entire body could fit through it. And I was impressed and thought it was cool, and the other guy decided to brag about his ability also, and he told me he had his body enhanced to where he could absorb the chakra of other people, and I asked the third one if he had any special abilities, and he used chakra scalpels to cut his arm from the elbow to his wrist, and it healed in seconds with no jutsu, and he said he could begin healing anywhere on his body by directing his chakra there without the need of jutsu. And I asked if it was a bloodline, and one of the other two snickered in meation that the one who healed himself was their master's favorite, but when the one who cut himself glared at them, they both shut up instantly and paled, so it was easy to see he was the leader there, and I said their sensei was cool, not letting them know I heard the word master, and asked them if I could meet their sensei to see if he could give me a cool gift. The leader seemed amused by this and said perhaps someday, but their sensei was out of the village, and he redirected the conversation back to what I was looking for, and he gave me the book I needed to study for what I was working on at the time, and told me I should sneak out while I could before I got in trouble. But since I met their sensei since then, when I ran into them again at the hospital, and I remember seeing him talking to a nurse the day I first met them, I knew whoever they were talking about as their master was not from our village. Kurenai looked at Kakashi, who said, "Naruto, I need to know who these three are." Naruto frowned and after a few seconds said, "Alright, but I asked that Sasuke and Sakura go in my bedroom with a Kage Bunshin who will activate a privacy seal so they can't hear the names." Sakura asked, "Why can't we hear the names?" "I mean, if they are enemy spies, then we need to avoid them." Naruto said, "And that is why I don't want you to know, Sakura. These guys are good and could probably tell instantly that something was wrong if you were to meet them, and would get suspicious and would spy on us to find out what was wrong, or if we suspected them, and that could cost us trouble. People know me for being dodgy and weird since I got a reputation as a prankster along with a few other things, so if I was acting weird they would chalk it up to me hiding something that I was working on, like a prank or something." Kurenai said, "He's right, Sakura, both of you go and wait until we tell you." Naruto smirked and said, "Besides, imagine the look on Ino's face when you tell her that you were alone in a bedroom with Sasuke." Sasuke said, "But you will have a Kage Bunshin in there with us, so we won't be alone." As he paled, Sakura, who got an excited look, started to calm down, and Naruto said, "But it only takes a single hit to dispel the Kage Bunshin after he activates the privacy seal I got up in there." As Sasuke paled again, and Sakura got an excited look as she went into the bedroom. Sasuke said, "No way, damn it." As he saw the look from Kurenai and Kakashi telling him to go, and a Kage Bunshin went with him. A few moments later, Naruto said, "Damn, she's got a mean right hook." Anyways, the names are Kabuto Yakushi Yore Akadu and Masumi Tsurugi. Kakashi looked at Naruto and said, "Naruto, the info you have is more than enough to investigate these three. You should have informed the Hokage about this already." Naruto frowned and said, "There's another reason I didn't tell Jiji Kakashi-sensei. In fact, it's why I'm not even sure if I should tell you, but with what has happened, I have no choice. I had a Kage Bunshin hinged as a bird follow Kabuto, and he met two people who worry me about telling. One I know, since I've seen him in Jiji office enough, and Jiji warned me to stay away from him. Danzo. I saw them talking about something and Danzo giving Kabuto a scroll and told him it was his master payment for the new arm. The arm Danzo has in the sling isn't normal. It's got 4 different chakra in it, and he also has second chakra behind the bandages over his eye. In fact, it feels like the same chakra that 3 of the chakra in the arm has, and it feels like the same chakra you have behind your eye, Kakashi-sensei. Now that I think about it, Sasuke eyes feel the same way as well, just not as strong. I think he's got 4 Sharingan eyes from what you told me about yourself. By the way, you owe me 4 books. Kakashi frowned and said, "Don't worry about them right now. I'll get them to you, and don't say anything about the Sharingan either." As he shot a look at Kurenai. Naruto frowned and said, "I see, well, the other guy Kabuto met worried me also. I don't think he was human. He was hunched over and was wearing this cloak that was black with red clouds, and Kabuto called him Sasori-sama, and I couldn't hear much, but I did hear the word Jinchuriki come up. I think they were talking about me. His chakra wasn't in his whole body either. It was like it was being sent to 1 or 2 places at a time." Kakashi frowned as he pulled out a scroll and unsealed a book and began to flip through it, and stopped and turned it around and asked, "Is this the guy you saw, Naruto?" Naruto looked at the picture and said no, but he did have that tattoo on him, pointing to the red scorpion. Kakashi said, "Then it must have been him. Akasuna no Sasori S rank missing nin of Suna." Naruto asked as he read the book Human Puppetry. "What's that?" Kakashi closed the book quickly and said, "It's a secret puppet jutsu from Suna that allowed a puppet user to use a dead enemy ninja body as a puppet, where they could even use the person bloodline if they had one. It's not very common or very popular, but it is very dangerous." Naruto nods and said, "You know Danzo arm, the one that had the 4 chakra, I recognize the feel the 4th chakra had also. It's the same feeling I get from that dragon Umbu who was on your team, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi frowned and said, I see Naruto, I am ordering you, and I will also order Sasuke and Sakura not to speak about this again without my permission even to the Hokage. I will look into this, but stay away from those 3 genin. Naruto said, okay, are you going to tell on me breaking into those places? Kurenai said before Kakashi answers, why did you lie to Sakura about the number or rapes and Kunoichi killed? Naruto smirked and said, so you did catch that. While I have broken into the record room, it wasn't for what I claimed I was looking for. I was actually looking for the address of any family the woman whose daughter was raped and killed might still have in the village after she left because her birthday was coming up and I wanted to send her a gift for being nice to me over the years after she left the village when her daughter died and Gigi caught me for that one. The numbers I spoke though were not exactly a lie, but they weren't actually one village either. That was in a report that was handed down from the Fire Lord to Gigi about the total number of reported rapes and deaths of Kunoichi and all of the hidden villages who were in the Land of Fire at the time these events happened, and he wanted Gigi to investigate them. I figured maybe having hard facts like that slapped in her face would wake Sakura up from her fangirl days. Kurenai nods and Kakashi said, I won't tell about your break-ins, but you have obviously found several weak spots in our village security that needs to be addressed. The idea you had about a report on those is a good one, and I will speak with the Hokage, and if he agrees, I'll ask you to test village security to see where we need to improve. Naruto said, cool, I'm going to actually get paid to do what I normally do. Kakashi said, well, let's get Sasuke and Sakura and turn in our mission report and I'll talk with the Hokage. Naruto said, I still need to give Sasuke what I wanted to give him. Let me get them. As he went to the bedroom and opened the door and blinked and asked what happened to Sakura. As he saw Sakura looking pale, Sasuke smirked and said, I told her if she tried anything that I would tell Ino that I wanted nothing to do with Sakura because I caught her and you in your bedroom with a privacy jutsu up and let Ino fill in the rest herself. Naruto burst out laughing and said, half-truths, huh? Well, come on. As he turned with a smile on his face. As Sasuke and Sakura returned, Naruto said, alright team, since I did something to help Sakura get better, I got 3 options for you to get better as well. Sasuke asked, like what, and what do I need to get better for? Naruto said, well, I know you say you wanted to kill someone and I know it's your brother for killing your clan, so I have 3 things I can give you to help you in that. The first is a seal that is sort of like the healing seal I mentioned, but it will store your chakra in it so that you could have twice the normal amount of chakra you have now when you fight him, but it has a drawback. While it will make you stronger the more you use the seal, the worse your chakra control will get, so you will have to work on improving your chakra control just to keep it at the level you are at now if you use this seal. The second is I have studied and broke down each of the one-hand seals, so if you were fighting someone with a kunai in one hand you could do one-hand seals and do a jutsu at close range, and from what I read the Sharingan is unable to copy jutsu that use one-hand seals, so that would give you an advantage against your brother. But the downside is you would have to take your time and work with the seals to figure out which seals are used to replace the normal hand seals for the jutsu you used. So it's something you would have to work at. The third thing is actually a new jutsu. I call it the Hobunshin. It takes half your chakra and you can only make one at a time, and it can only take one hit like a Kage Bunshin, but when it punches or kicks something it does fire damage to the person or object it hits, and when it is destroyed it explodes like an exploding shadow clone into a huge fireball that, depending on how much chakra you have, could be anywhere from a few feet to several yards away in damage, and everyone in the blast will either be severely burned or killed. I will give you only one of these 3, so you have to decide yourself which you want and which you don't. Sasuke asked, why can't you give me all 3? Naruto frowned and said, I'm not giving them away for free. I have something I want you to do for me that I have yet to tell you about that you will have to agree to in order to get one of these 3. As for why only one, power comes at a price always. I've spent my time, sweat, blood, tears, money and hard work on all this, and I'm not just going to give it away to someone who turns their back on me and leaves me tied to a log knocked out. As he shot looks at both Sasuke and Sakura, who averted their eyes. Kurenai frowned as she shot a look at Kakashi, who closed his eyes. Naruto said, but I am not doing this for revenge for that. I've forgiven you both, but I did learn a very valuable lesson from you both, and that's is that nobody does nothing for free. Somehow, someway, everyone who does something for someone else gets paid for it, either with emotional, physical or economic value to the one who did something for someone else. We never were friends, and we still aren't. I'm the dead last, you're the rookie of the year, and you're his fangirl. If we hadn't been put on the same team, then neither of you would be here now but would be making fun of me and looking down on me like I'm dirt on your feet. Sasuke looked away and Sakura said, Naruto, I am sorry. Naruto waved his hand and said, like I said, Sakura, I forgive you both, which is why I am trying to help you both get stronger to complete your goals. You may not remember it, but before you started chasing Sasuke, you told the class that the reason you became a kunoichi was to be the first one in your family. I want to see you succeed in that dream, like I am trying to help Sasuke in achieving his goal of avenging his clan. Sasuke asked, what is it I have to do to get one of those three? Naruto smiled and said, I have my own reasons for doing this, but I am designing a seal that will protect against bloodline theft, and when I finish it, I want you to not only allow me to put it on you to show that it works but endorse it. I've also got another seal I am planning to make that will help you to avenge your clan as payment once I have placed the new seal on you and you endorse it. Sasuke asked, and what is this new seal you're talking about that will help me avenge my clan? Naruto said, imagine if you went to fight your brother and you could seal away his bloodline in the middle of a fight where he couldn't use it anymore, or imagine if you were able to place a seal on your brother that made him not only unable to use his chakra and bloodline but unable to move as well, so that way you don't have to give him a quick painless death but a slow painful death that allowed you to do whatever you want to him as his life will be in your hands as nothing more than a toy to do with what you want. Imagine if you forced him to become nothing more than breeding stock to help restore the clan that he destroyed while he is unable to do anything but lay there as he is used by whatever woman you hire to become a mother of the future Uchiha clan, so that way you won't have to marry 4 or 5 women yourself, but only 1 or maybe 2 if you want. Wouldn't that be ironic justice? Sasuke got a glint in his eye and said, and you could do that. Naruto said there are seals out there that already do that, but they only do 1 or 2 at a time. I can take those seals and make a new one that has all those effects together and make it as easy to put on as slapping an exploding tag on an enemy ninja back. So what do you say sound like something you would be interested in? Kurenai said, Naruto, why don't you make that seal to protect the Hyuga bloodline and give it to Hinata? I mean, her dream is to unite her clan and get rid of the cage bird seal, which is a seal the Hyuga clan used to protect their bloodline, but it's basically a slavery seal. Naruto said, because I am afraid of what I will learn or what harm will come to my friend Tenten if I do. Causing everyone to blink and look at him. Sasuke asked, what do you mean? Naruto said, shit, I didn't mean to say that out loud. Look, recently Neji Hyuga, the teammate of my friend Tenten, asked her out after years of her trying to get him to go out with her. Maybe it's because he finally sees how special she is and honestly wants to go out with her, and I hope that is the reason, but Kakashi-sensei told me once that there may come a time where others would use my friends against me, so I figure there's a chance that someone could have threatened to use the cage bird seal and ordered Neji to be with Tenten in order to hopefully manipulate me. You said earlier that the Hyuga clan and the Uchiha clan tried to get my mom to join them. Perhaps they know what my bloodline is and are using Neji to control Tenten to control me, but then Hinata had that crush on me that I finally figured out, and she might have saw how close Tenten and I have become and got afraid that I would choose Tenten and lose any chance of me being with her, and she threatened to use the seal to force Neji to ask Tenten out so I would look elsewhere. Kurenai said, Hinata, not that way. Quickly. Naruto said, I hope you're right, Kurenai-sensei, but I've seen best friends turn into enemies, and I've seen a woman threaten to kill someone with every intention of doing it in order to be with the one they love. Someone using others to get competition out of the way isn't that hard to imagine. Look at Sakura and Ino, they were at one time best friends, but I've seen them both pull kunais on each other once for getting too close to Sasuke. At this everyone looked at Sakura, who looked down, and Sasuke said, when was this? In a surprised tone. Sakura said, last year on your birthday. Ino and I both secretly decided since we were 14 we were each going to give you our first kiss, but when we learned each other was going to do the same thing we attacked each other, I got the scar to prove it. We wound up deciding to hold that until you decided to date one of us after Ino dad and my mom came to get us at the hospital. Kurenai frowned and said, but Hinata not like that, she too nice to use others, Naruto, and especially that seal. She hates it. Naruto said, I hope you're right, which is why I'm designing this seal. If her or another Hyuga is using Neji, then by getting rid of the seal will remove the power they have over him and he can break up with her if he doesn't care for her, but if I gave this seal to Hinata and it turns out that she did use Neji, then she would have to take more drastic actions, which could mean attacking Tenten or arranging for her to have an accident on a mission. We are ninja. We are trained to kill and use deception, so no matter how nice Hinata is or seems to be, she does have the potential to do that. Kakashi-sensei told us to look underneath the underneath, and that is what I am doing. Kakashi sighed and said, maybe you're overthinking this, Naruto. Not everyone is trying to use you. Naruto said, you're right, Mizuki, a perfect example. Causing Kakashi to flinch, while Sasuke and Sakura looked confused and Kurenai frowned. Kurenai said, then if you don't trust Hinata, why are you willing to help her with this scroll your clone made for me while you went to get Sasuke and Sakura? Naruto said, it's not that I don't trust her. I just have doubts. That is why I want to remove the source of the doubts by removing the cage bird seal. With it out of the way, if things work out with Niji and Tenten then so be it, and I'm happy for them, but if Niji breaks up with her shortly after it is removed, then either he was being forced or he didn't really have feelings strong enough to be with her like that. If it comes back with him being forced though, then I only have the members of the main house to look at as the source, and then the question comes back to which one and why. Either way, it will mean I could never get close to Hinata like she would like, because if she would use her family and my friends against me then I couldn't trust her, and if it was a member of her family who ordered Niji then I couldn't trust them not to try and use Hinata against me, so by not going out with her would be painful in the short run, she wouldn't be hurt by her family all the time in the long run, so I am trying to protect her as well if she is innocent. I know it sounds like I actually believe she is doing that, but I actually don't, or I hope and pray she doesn't. I hate doubting people, but I have no choice. The only thing I can do is remove the cage bird seal and see what happens. Kurenai turned to Kakashi and said, what the hell have you been teaching him to get him to think like that? I feel like an academy student learning the finer points of deceptions here instead of Konoha Jinjutsu mistress, the mistress of deception. Kakashi said, he's his father's son, that's all I will say. Naruto happy look stopped as he glared at Kakashi a moment before his face became neutral, remembering Tenten's words, and said, well, as much fun as it is having you all in my home, we need to finish our mission, and here Kurenai-sensei, this is your stuff. I had a clone store it in a reusable storage scroll, so you won't have to burden your arms when you go shopping again. Just place the item on the scroll and they will seal automatically, and with each chakra burst you send into it more will pop out so you can unseal the stuff inside it at your own pace. Kurenai took the scroll and Naruto said, oh by the way Kurenai-sensei, how much did Tenten tell you? As he walked over to a set of scrolls. Kurenai blinked and asked, what do you mean? Naruto turned to look at her and said, me having a bloodline was mentioned several times since you been here. Kakashi mentioned my father who not even my teammates know, and you never once looked curious or asked about either of those things or even looked startled or shocked by hearing about them, meaning you knew about them beforehand. Besides, you put me on the red list. Kurenai paled, as did Sakura, and Kakashi asked, red list? Naruto smirked and said, there's a secret code originally created by Tsunade Senju back when she first became a genin. It's taught only to kunoichi, and there are 3 lists that are passed around by the kunoichi of the village since then. The first is the black list. It's mostly a list of either people, places or items that should be avoided by kunoichi, as bad things happen to those who interact, use or go to those places. Next we have the white list. It's sort of safe places where kunoichi can go for things like clothing, counseling, relaxation, or things along those lines, usually to avoid perverts. Then there is the red list. The red list are usually hot topic items, people or places that deserve special attention. It could be something good or bad depending on what they are put on the list for and who put them on the list. Kurenai asked, how did you find out about the code, and how did you find out about the 3 list and that I put you on the list? Naruto sighed and said, I've had a few kunoichi brag about how I was on the blacklist when I was younger, and after I insulted them they told me about the code when I told them they were full of shit about there being a secret code, and from that info I was able to take the time and break the code. It took me about 6 months to figure it out, but I eventually did, and since then once a month I look at the list to see what's going on to avoid getting into trouble or for my next victim of a prank. While we were in here, one of my Kage Bunshin dispelled after reading the latest edition of the list, and I found a nice little article you and Enko wrote about me. The only way you could have got that info was if Tenten told you, so how much did she tell you and why? Kurenai frowned and said, we put you on the list because truthfully nobody gives a rat's ass about kunoichi and our safety, because either men see us as weaker than them and inferior than them, and civilian women see us as nothing better than legal prostitutes. The fact that you are willing to try and help kunoichi to protect ourselves and give us the respect we have fought and died trying to earn has earned you a spot on the red list just for trying. If you actually succeed, then you will have the respect of nearly every kunoichi in Konoha, and possibly our allies and maybe even those villages we are not allied with. Then there is my personal reason for the fact that you are willing to work on releasing Anko from a seal that has been the source of her pain and suffering for over a decade has earned you a special place in both of our lives. Everyone including Hokage-sama gave up trying to free her of the seal, leaving her with no hope of being free from the curse it put on her life, and for the first time in years she has hope. Anko and I basically blackmailed Tenten into telling us what she did, which I have a feeling was an extremely edited version about how you met your mother as well as some other arrangements, and you already know the other things that you told us. Tenten owed Anko and me both for helping her over the years because we saw her as someone who was serious about being a kunoichi and not a fangirl who disgraces us, so we called in the favors she owed us to find out what she did, and we had to use them all to get that info, so for her to hold out as much as she did means you're special to her considering everything. I can understand why. Sakura looked down as she heard Kurenai words and said, Kurenai-sensei, can I see your hands a minute? Kurenai blinked and Naruto looked at Sakura and thought, is she really doing that? Kurenai asked why. Sakura bit her lip and said, please don't make me explain. Naruto said in a soft voice, Kurenai, please do it for me. Kurenai looked between Naruto and Sakura a moment and showed Sakura her hands, and Sakura looked at them and Kurenai asked, what are you looking at? Sakura sighed and said, I hate to admit it, Naruto, but you're right, you've been right about a lot of things. Kakashi-sensei, Naruto and Kurenai-sensei have reminded me of why I first wanted to be a kunoichi, and I do want to the first ninja of my family. I just don't know where to start. Kakashi smiled behind his mask and looked at Kurenai, who had a small smile on her face, and Kakashi said, well, I have to admit that Naruto was right about where your skills are at. Basically, you do have the making of a genjutsu user or a medic, and regretfully, I'm not actually skilled enough with either to teach you more than the basics. I can help you with those and point you in the right direction, but you're going to have to do a lot of it on your own. Kurenai said, if you don't mind, Kakashi, if Sakura is truly willing to become a true kunuchi and not a fangirl, then I won't mind. Maybe once a week we have some cross-training. Maybe add a Suma to it as well, to maybe help get Ino to get over her fangirl tendency as well. Kakashi started to say something when Naruto said, maybe Team 9 also. What? As he saw the look everyone was giving him, Kakashi said, well, I did say I would see about doing some team training with him at some point, so I guess I'll talk with Guy. Kurenai said, and I will talk with Asuma. Naruto said, well, since things are looking good, which one do you want, Sasuke? As he turned to Sasuke. Sasuke said, how about a counteroffer, Dobe? Naruto frowned and asked, what do you have in mind? Sasuke said, I'll take the seal you offered me to double my chakra reserves, but I am willing to buy that Hobunshin jutsu off you. Naruto thought a moment and asked, how much? Sasuke said, I'll pay you $10,000. Shocking everyone. Naruto narrowed his eyes and said, what's the catch? Sasuke said, what do you mean? Naruto said, the amount you're offering seems like a good deal to me, since it will mean I won't have to take as many missions to survive and to continue my studies, but what's in it for you besides that jutsu, because with what I read about your eyes you could probably steal it if I ever used it, so what is it you are really after? Sasuke shook his head and said, I'm questioning more and more every day if you really were the dope in the academy, or if you were hiding your true potential. Anyways, to answer your question, I want to know what it is you are all dancing around. The way you and the sensei look at each other and phrase things, it's obvious there is something going on that Sakura and I don't know, and it's something big. Kakashi and Kurenai frowned and Naruto said, Sasuke, if there really was something we weren't telling you or dancing around, do you think we would be willing to sell that information for the price you are offering, or if there was a secret that we would have the authority to tell the secret, as obviously, it must be a pretty high-ranking one if Jounins are aware of it. Sasuke said, but a newly graduated Genin has access to the secret. The only way that is possible is if you were involved in the secret. With a smirk, Naruto said, cheeky bastard, you're right, there is a secret. An S-rank secret actually, and there are only 2 people in the entire village allowed to speak about it, even though nearly everyone above 20 years of age knows about it. The Sandaime even has a law about it that states if anyone tells about it, or even the law without the permission of the 2 people who are allowed to, then they will be arrested and are executed without trial. Still want to know? Sakura got a scared look on her face as Sasuke got a determined look and he nods, and Naruto said, then prove it. It's obvious that I am one of the 2 people who can speak about it, with the Sandaime being the other one. It's linked to my father, though nearly no one knows that he's my father. If you want to learn the secret, you're going to have to prove to me that I can trust you, and you have to prove to me that you actually need to know about it. Right now you don't have enough trust from me to know this, and there is no need for you to know it either. Think of it as a clan secret if you have to, but do yourself a favor and keep your nose out of it. You also, Sakura. Even if I have the power to speak about it, if you get caught speaking about it or even investigating it too much, then you will be killed, and there is nothing I could do to stop it. People already have been killed for it, because it could cause a war between our village and others if the information got in the wrong hands. This shocked Sasuke and Sakura stuttered, I won't tell. Sasuke said, fine, but I still want that jutsu. Naruto nods and said, I'll give you both the seal and the jutsu sometime this week, but have the money ready. Now we should get going. I'm sure the Hokage is afraid we are picking up on Kakashi-sensei habit. Kurenai laughed and said, I guess I'll see you later. I'll contact you after I speak with Asuma Kakashi. As she left, Kakashi said, now listen all three of you. Basically everything you have heard while we are here I am declaring a secret and I will be speaking with the Hokage about it all, so for your sake don't tell anyone or I will see to it that your ninja license is suspended and you may be also put in jail. Do you all understand? Each of the students nod and they leave with Naruto locking it back up, leaving his Kage Bunshin to continue to work. When they got to the Hokage Tower, the Sandaime smiled and said, Team 7, how was your mission? Kakashi said it was a success, but there was some interesting events that need to be discussed with you, Naruto and myself. Also, I wish for you to tell Sasuke and Sakura that what we are going to speak about is a village secret so they know not to speak about it for their safety. The Sandaime frowned and asked, I take it this is related to that. Naruto said somewhat, but other things as well. They don't know enough to break any laws, but they know enough if they investigate it or speak about it, then either they could break your law or gather the attentions of some unwanted individuals. Sarutobi said, I see, I'm not sure of all the details at the moment, but whatever information they are speaking about you are not to tell anyone under penalty of jail time or death. Do I make myself clear? Both Sasuke and Sakura nods, though Sasuke frowned and the Sandaime said dismissed then. After Sasuke and Sakura left, the Sandaime asked what is going on. Kakashi said, Sir, please summon Ibiki and Anko. Akasuna no Sasori has been in the village, sir, and Naruto has accidentally discovered 3 possible spies, as well as another who could be involved in treason. The Sandaime froze as he heard Sasori name and he looked at Kakashi and said, very well. Umbu. As he channeled chakra into a seal under the desk. For Umbu appeared and the Sandaime said, get me Anko and Ibiki. The 4 left and the Sandaime asked, how sure are you of this, Kakashi? Kakashi said, I showed Naruto a bingo book of Sasori, and while he didn't pick up on Sasori he did pick up on Sasori personal symbol, and Naruto said the guy's chakra didn't feel human, like he was only sending direct chakra to whatever was moving, which sounds like a puppeteer. There is more, but I would rather wait. The Sandaime said, very well. As he looked in thought. A few minutes later Anko and Ibiki appeared and Ibiki said, you sent for us, sir. The Sandaime said, yes I did. Alright Kakashi, why don't you explain what's going on? Kakashi said, right, earlier today after my team was returning from our mission we ran into Kurenai, who is assisting Naruto in help with a seal he is designing. Ibiki looked surprised and said, seals. The Sandaime said, I am aware of these facts, Ibiki, so do not worry. I want to know how Naruto met Akasuna no Sasori and who these spies and this triator might be. Kakashi said, very well. I'll skip to the part where Naruto was in his apartment with our team and Kurenai. Naruto mentioned there was another person in the village with a curse seal, but instead of on his neck it is around his heart area, from what Naruto can feel since he is a sensor type thanks to his bloodline. Naruto also discovered that this person and both his teammate, as he explained about what he heard earlier, going all the way to the end where Kabuto met Danzo and Sasori. When he finished, the others in the office were wide-eyed and the Sandaime frowned and said, I see, are you sure about the bloodlines, Naruto? Naruto said, I'm just telling you about the feel the chakra has. It's almost exactly like what the chakra behind Kakashi-sensei Hyde is in Sasuke's eyes, and also that arm also feels like the dragon mask Dumbo. I can't describe it, they just feel different than normal chakra, and they feel alike. Sarutobi said, I see. Kakashi said, sir, that's not the only reason that I asked for Ibiki and Anko to come here. I would like to nominate Naruto to become an Umbu. Making everyone in the office wide-eyed and looked shocked at Kakashi. Naruto said, Umbu, why? I'm not skilled enough. Sarutobi took out his pipe and said, Kakashi, in all the years I have known you, you have never once nominated anyone to Umbu. Why now, and why Naruto? Kakashi said, sir, I know Naruto doesn't have the experience yet to be an Umbu, but the reason I am nominating him is because Naruto's speed and stealth skills are already Umbu level, with his prank on the Hokage monument a perfect example of this. Naruto knows more weak spots in our village security than any ninja that I can think of. He is also without a doubt the best seal master currently in the village, even unregistered, maybe even surpassing Jiraiya-sama, or at least close to it. I wish to nominate him as a specialist, sir, like Anko, with him working directly under Ibiki and Anko and locating weakness in our village security, as well as looking for potential threats, because if this Kabuto kid is everything Naruto claims he has, then our village has been missing him for years, sir, and Naruto was able to peg him after only 1 or 2 meetings as being a spy. That is a huge error on our part, sir. He will also work in the area of seals on designing new seals, or breaking down and studying enemy seals like he has the curse seal. From what I take it, after one meeting, he has possibly found a way to destroy the curse seal. Even Jiraiya-sama has been unable to do that. Naruto also got a medical seal he designed that could decrease the fatality rate of our ninja by at least 30%, sir. He's even creating a new seal that will replace the Hyuga cage bird seal, and he knows a law that will allow him to do it legally and force the Hyuga clan to unite under one house. I know he is young and inexperienced, and I wouldn't send him out of the village as an Umbu for some time, but the things he could do inside the village, which would also draw attention away from him and make our enemies believe we have a new seal master in Umbu, as well as an up-and-coming one who is a genin, will force them to start diverting some of their shinobi into learning sealing, which will take time away from the missions they could do just in hopes of countering Naruto. Anko said, sir, I may not know his skills in other areas, but in seals I know he is skilled. Sarutobi said, I am aware of that, and you do make a valid point, Kakashi, because it won't take long for other villages to catch word about Naruto's skills with seals, and that will most likely draw them toward an unwanted subject. Ibiki, your thoughts? Ibiki looked at Naruto for several moments and said, I agree to this because some of our ninja have become complacent in their skills. I, however, will want to test his skills, and also have him to train with other Umbu and do missions for me. Nothing outside the village for now. He will have to be silent about being an Umbu and will still have to appear as a regular genin with his team. Sarutobi said, very well, Naruto, do you accept the nomination of becoming an Umbu? Naruto gulped and said, yes, Gigi. Sarutobi said, when you're with your genin team or we are alone, you may call me that, but when you are on duty as an Umbu you must refer to me as Hokage-sama Naruto to make people believe there are two seal masters in this village. Naruto said, hi Hokage-sama. Sarutobi said, very well then. From now on your codename is Hydra. Kakashi, I expect you to get him ready for Umbu missions, because I won't be able to keep him off of them for too long. A few months maybe. Kakashi said, I understand. Ibiki said, Hydra Anko here will come by and give you your uniform and mask within the week, as well as bringing you to Umbu headquarters. Naruto said, but I already know where Umbu headquarters is. Ibiki said, do you now? Naruto nods and said, yes, it's 6 blocks east of here. There's 2 men and 1 woman watching the entrance from the front, with another inside the lobby of the building. The woman is always at the tea shop, one guy acts as a drunk in the alley, and another looks like he's whittling wood. Ibiki frowned and said, and how were you able to discover those 4? Naruto said, the expiration date on the bottle the guy is drinking from is 4 years old, so the alcohol should have killed him. The guy on the steps has a bag that he supposedly is putting the wood chips in to keep from messing up the steps, but I've seen him pull out food, water and other things from the bag, and if it was indeed his lunch, then where is the wood chips from him whittling? There is the lady at the tea shop who has fallen asleep from boredom when nobody but the owner was there and doesn't wake up unless he wakes her up or when someone walks in talking loudly. The guy in the lobby is usually the only one that I can tell is actually doing something, but I've seen a woman step out from under the desk whipping her lips a few times as she did so, and he lets her out a side door and she comes out 2 buildings down without ever entering the alley, telling me there is an underground tunnel. Kakashi, I smiled, and Ibiki said, I think I'm going to like you, kid. Anko asked, so what do we do about Danzo and those 3? Sarutobi said, I'll contact Jiraiya and ask him if they are one of his maybe double agents. If he informs me no, then we will pull those 3 inches. If we can get them to talk about Danzo, then we will go after him. If not, then we will have to figure some way to trap him, forcing him to reveal he has those bloodlines. Is that understood? Everyone nods and the Sandaime said, good, you're all dismissed, and Hydra, welcome to Umbu. Naruto said, thank you all of you. As he left, Kakashi stayed behind and the Sandaime asked, is there something else, Kakashi? Kakashi said, yes sir. I don't want my team taking another mission from the client we had today. She was Mizuki's fiancé, and there appears to be some tension between her and Naruto. Nothing happened and she seemed to be over it, but Naruto is paranoid of her and it may affect my team. Sarutobi said, very well. I was not aware that he had a fiancé, or I would have never gave you that mission. Is that all? Kakashi nods and Sarutobi said, very well, dismissed. After Kakashi left, Sarutobi thought, what a day. Chapter 8. When Naruto walked up the steps to his apartment, he saw Anko standing there and she said, hello Gaki, how you doing? Naruto said, fine, I guess so. Is this a social call or you just here to fuck me? Anko eyes widened slightly at that and said, what, where the hell did that come from? Naruto said, relax, I was just joking. So what do I owe the honor of your visit? Anko frowned and said, don't play that game with me Gaki, or I'll make sure Buns doesn't get the honor of deflowering your ass. Naruto frowned and looked out across the roofs of the village and said no, I doubt she will ever anyways, in fact, I kind of hope she doesn't. In a quiet and regretful tone as he bit his thumb and began to wipe some blood across the seals hidden in the door frame and then channeling chakra into the knob and opening the door and said you coming in or what? As he walked in, Anko followed him inside and closed the door and raised an eyebrow at the clones working and said nice place. Reminds me of a couple rooms back at Umbu headquarters. Naruto said I don't get many visitors and I don't need much. So what are you here for? Anko pulled out a scroll and unsealed a set of black cloth light armor, a black cloak and a mask with slanted eye holes, 3 gills on each cheek and a mouth with jagged pointed teeth that looked like it could tear flesh from bone and said this is your uniform and mask. Naruto said wow, that was quick. Anko said not really, the uniforms have seals on them where one size fits all and the masks are already made with design, so when we get a new member the Hokage has a list of which ones are available to be given out as a codename. I'm guessing that because of your use of Kage Bunshin is why he picked Hydra. Naruto blinked and asked why is that? What is a Hydra? Anko said a Hydra is a creature that when it has its head cut off two will grow in its place, so the longer you fight it the harder it is to kill because there are more and more heads popping up all the time. Naruto said I see, are Hydra real? Anko said there's a demon sealed away in Oni country that is a Hydra, so I guess it's real. Naruto said really, I didn't know there were more demons than the Bijou out there and none of them are a Hydra. Anko laughed and said the Forest of Death here in Konoha actually has hundreds of demons inside of it. They're just minor demons and real easy to kill, so most don't even realize they are demons. Naruto said I see, I'll have to go there sometime. Maybe I can find something useful out about the fuzzball. So is this all you came here for, was to give me my uniform? Anko said actually 2 other reasons. The first is I need to put an Umbu tattoo on your arm and the second is to take you out drinking with me. Usually it's your entire squad, but since Ibiki hasn't decided who your squad is besides me, I get the honor of following tradition of Umbu. Now take your shirt off so I can put the tattoo on your arm. Naruto asked what tradition? As he pulled his shirt off. Anko raised an eyebrow and said well you're not buff, but you're no slouch either. Pretty good for someone your age though. As for what tradition, I guess I can tell you the same thing I was told when I asked that question. In Umbu we are a family, your squad is your brothers and sisters, even when you leave Umbu you're still family, we eat together, we fight together, we kill together, we drink together, we live together and we die together. We protect each other and destroy those who threaten our family. By getting drunk together we show we have a union as teammates, friends, allies and family. Naruto said I like that, damn you're quick at that and it doesn't hurt at all. Anko laughed and said there's a painkiller in the ink to kill the pain after the first touch of the needle and I've done a lot of these over the years, they're all done. As Naruto saw the Umbu design on his arm in black. Anko said regular Umbu are in black, but if you see one with red around it in color then that means he or she is a captain of a squad. Naruto nods and Anko said now come on, let's go get drunk. As she grabbed Naruto and shoo-shined away. The next morning Sasuke and Sakura were sitting at Training Ground 7 when Kakashi appeared on time surprising them and he blinked and said where's Naruto? A voice said he will be here shortly. Kakashi, we're playing a game of Predator and Prey right now. As all 3 members of Team 7 looked up and saw Anko as she laughed and said here he comes. I'll see you later. As she jumped away. Naruto came running onto the field in just his black boxers with a bandage across his left upper arm and he was huffing and said damn sadistic bitch. As he looked around and Sakura said Naruto, where are the rest of your cloths? Naruto looked at Sakura and said stolen by that bitch who just left, oh god my head. I will never drink again. Sakura screeched, you drunk Naruto, you're not old enough to drink. Naruto looked at her and said old enough to kill, old enough to drink, old enough to fuck and old enough to die. Sakura. We're ninja now, so the laws of civilians don't apply on drinking. Kakashi blinked and said tradition. Seeing the bandage's arm and having a guess what was behind it. Naruto said tradition, did she say anything? Kakashi said just that she will see you later, so why don't you go get some more of your cloths on Naruto and stop chasing her. Naruto sighed and said I can't, we went drinking last night and after she passed out I didn't know where she lived and felt bad about leaving her at the bar, so I took her to my place to sleep on the couch. As I went to lay her on the couch she knocked me out and when I woke up she told me to catch her and she had a scroll with all my cloths, weapons, money and sealing supplies as well as all my scrolls in my apartment and my furniture. My apartment is completely empty, including the cheese on the mousetrap where the fridge used to be. As he began to huff. Everyone on Team 7 sweat dropped and Kakashi said, perhaps you better hurry and catch her then. If I know Anko, if you give up the chase, she will toss the scroll once it is of no use. Naruto nods and took off where he felt Anko chakra as Kakashi turned and said, anyways, today we are having team training with some of the other Genin teams to evaluate your progress compared to theirs as well as some cross-training. Naruto will catch up if he can catch Anko and get his stuff, that is. With a worried look in the direction Naruto went. Team 7 had just walked onto Training Ground 9 where teams 8, 9 and 10 were located and Kiba said, hey, where's the dead last? A puff of smoke appeared in the training ground as Anko appeared there, and a moment later a kunai flew through the air at her which she knocked away, and when it hit the ground Naruto appeared in a puff of smoke doing a leg sweep as another Naruto came running into the field as he charged at Anko, who quickly dispelled the clone and stuck out her tongue as Naruto tried to do a tackle only for her to dodge, but as she did two Kage bunch and appear where the kunai was grabbing Anko arms as Naruto grabbed the kunai and held it to her neck and said, now. Off to the side everyone but Team 7 thought, what the hell? Ino said, what is Naruto doing here dressed like that? As her eyes trailed up and down his body, seeing the muscles he had. Shikamaru muttered, troublesome. As Choji continued to eat and Asuma shook his head. Hinata turned beet red as she looked at Naruto and cast a glance at Tenten, who slapped her own forehead and muttered, why am I not shocked by this? Snakes shot out of Anko coat sleeve, destroying the two clones as she kneed Naruto in the stomach before bringing her fist down to the side of his head, which he rolled with, clipping her legs where she fell before he pinned her legs over his shoulders and held the kunai at her neck and said. Anko smirked and said, you know, if you push a little more forward I might actually give you the scroll, since the only way you're getting it back is if you give me release. Naruto at that moment realized the situation they were in and jumped back, glaring at her as Anko burst out laughing, and Naruto held out his hand and said, give me my stuff back, Anko. You have all my cloths, money, furniture, scrolls, weapons, and everything else that was in my apartment after you knocked me out. You've had your fun of cat and mouse and I caught you, so give it here. Anko waved her finger in the air in a naughty motion as she stood up and said, I told you already, Foxy, the only way you get your stuff back is if you release me. Naruto frowned. He knew what she wanted and said, I already told you not until I speak with Jiraiya about it, and what are you all looking at? Haven't you ever seen a guy in his boxers before? If you haven't, then you either need to get laid or quit pretending to be guys. As he saw the shocked looks on everyone's faces as several looked away or glared at him with red faces, though why they had red faces was debatable. Anko said, oh, then I guess I can just set this afire if you won't do as I ask. As she pulled out a lighter. Naruto screamed no, as he jumped toward her and she kicked him in the ribs before kneeing him in the face. As Naruto rubbed his ribs, he glared at Anko, who said, now are you going to listen, Foxy? You better than anyone knows the hell I have gone through in my life because of a seal. You have the time to work on creating a seal that will free the Hyuga branch clan, and even found a law making it where the Hyuga main branch have no choice but to replace the cage bird seal with your seal or be executed for treason against the Fire Lord. You have time to create a medical seal that will save the lives of hundreds of Konohanins, create a seal that will gives people more chakra to fight longer, create massive storage scrolls and anti-rape seal for Kunoichi, and God knows what all else you have had time to do, and you even came up with a way to destroy this. As she pulled her coat to the side showing the seal. Anko glared at Naruto and said, but you haven't. I can't take waiting anymore, kid. You name your price and I'll pay it. You want me to be your slave, done, wife, lover, fuck buddy, kill someone, pay you something, I'll do it all. You know the pain of suffering because of others and having a seal that can kill you placed on you by someone that is like a father figure. You know what it's like to feel completely lost in hopelessness and then have someone offer you hope. Please name your price and I'll gladly do whatever it takes to be free of this, please. Naruto ran his hand through his hair and sighed and said, Anko, damn it, do you have any idea what you are asking of me? Those other seals I am creating are my own design, so I know the ins and outs of their seals. The Hyuga seal, I don't have to actually study because they will have ways to remove the seal. All I have to do is create one that will protect their bloodline as good as or if not better than the cage bird seal. The curse seal is not one of mine. I don't know all the ins and outs. All I can tell are the aspects I can actually see. Anko said, I know that and I don't care. Naruto growled and said after he took several calming breaths, listen Anko, it won't be easy and you won't get out of it untouched either. In order to do this I have to do 4 separate sealing jutsu on you. The first will take a huge chunk of your chakra to make a Kage Bunshin. Then I will have to take a sample of your blood and not just from anywhere but from your heart Anko and seal them for the first 2 sealing jutsu. Luckily, I know a jutsu to do that so it won't risk your life for that part. After that I have to actually break the restriction seal someone placed on it, which will automatically activate the curse seal, which you won't be allowed to suppress. In fact, it would be better if you embraced it because it will be destroying the parts of your body corrupted by the seal, turning it back into your body, and during that you will have to be held down by the other Jounins here, if they are willing to help while someone puts something in your mouth to keep you from swallowing your tongue or breaking your teeth or biting your tongue off. But the downside is the longer you use the curse seal, the shorter your life will become, and you will have to keep it active while I draw the last seal. So if nothing goes wrong up till this point, if I can act quickly, you will only lose maybe 10 years of your life. But if my chakra control slips during the final sealing, or you destroy the seal while I'm drawing it where I have to start over, or if I run out of chakra or half a dozen other things that could go wrong, then it could cost you even more of your life or even kill you. Anko, do you understand? You are really putting your life in my hands, Anko, because one slip up and you will either die or lose nearly all your life. Anko said, I don't care, I rather live an hour free than live a lifetime and die still bound to this curse. I trust you to do your best and free me. Naruto closed his eyes and looked down and said, if you have something to say, Kiba, then say it out loud and not whisper it. As he looked to the right where he heard Kiba whispering, Kiba stepped forward and said, I was just wondering what kind of prank you are doing, dead last, and if this bitch here is one of your sexy no jutsu. As he eyed Anko, Kurenai frowned at Kiba and said, Kiba, that is a friend of mine named Anko, and she is a special jounin, and this isn't a prank. Anko, what are you doing? Anko shook her head and said, Nia, ever since I heard the kid here tell us he could break the seal that bastard placed on me, I have been plagued by nightly nightmares, remembering how he used me as a test subject and threw me away, and how everyone turned their backs on me thinking I was a traitor for following orders from my sensei, which is what everyone is trained to do. How was I to know he had betrayed Konoha, and we were not on another secret mission for the Hokage, since we had only done 30 of them by that time? I admit this was rash of me, tricking him like I did and then knocking him out and stealing all his stuff, but I can't stand to wait any longer. I can't take another night of knowing he can kill me with a single hand sign. Off to the side while this was being said, Niji's eyes widened slightly and thought she knows the same fate that I do, and she claims he knows the pain as well. She also said he's trying to free the Branch family. Does he know? On another side, another pair of eyes widened and glanced at Niji, seeing Niji's eyes widen as she heard the words about freeing the Hyuga clan, as Hinata looked down and thought, oh, Niji Naruto-kun. Ten eyes widened and thought he's wanting to free Niji and the other Hyuga branch members, but why? Before her eyes widened again as a thought hit her and she glanced at Niji and thought, could Naruto think that, and could it be true, and if it is, who and why? As she glanced at Hinata, who was looking down, as a frown formed on her lips as she glanced at Niji. Ino said, what is going on? Doesn't she know who he is? She's putting her life on the line for an idiot who probably doesn't know anything about seals, who could be bragging about something to make him look good. Shikamaru said, I don't think so. Ino, look at the sensei here and look at his teammates. They don't seem surprised about this, and they don't seem to be trying to stop this if it was a lie. Perhaps he really does know something about seals. Naruto sighed and said, fine, give me my stuff, and if the sensei here will agree to it and you understand the risk you are taking and accept responsibility for them, then who am I to deny you your hope? I know better than anyone what hope will do for someone. As he glanced slightly at Ten before holding out his hand, Anko said, what proof do I have that you will release me from this seal? Naruto said, I give you my word, Anko, and I never go back on my word. It's my ninja way. As he continued to hold out his hand, Anko said, all right, Foxy. I'll trust you. As she handed the scroll to Naruto, who opened the scroll and said as he saw the seal design, hey, where did you get this scroll? It's not one of mine. Anko laughed and said, I actually made it because I had planned before I took you out drinking to blackmail you into this. Naruto snorts and began to unseal the scroll, looking for his cloths and other things, shocking everyone as they saw the furniture, and Sakura said, you took his kitchen sink. Hey, that's the dresser from his bedroom. Causing everyone to look at her. Ino said, hey, forehead, how do you know that dresser's from his bedroom? With a smirk on her face, Sakura paled as she heard Ino and saw the look Ino had on her face, and Sasuke said she locked herself in his bedroom with him yesterday with a privacy seal up. Causing Sakura to pale even more, and Sasuke smirked before Naruto said, hey, it was Kakashi-sensei idea for team bonding. We eat as a team, drink as a team, live as a team, sleep as a team, and fuck as a team. You shouldn't get upset, Sasuke. I mean, I know you're angry that I made you both my bitches, but hey, what are friends for? Just remember it's Naruto-sama now. Causing Sasuke and Sakura to pale and Kakashi to say, and I have never been more proud either. As he flipped a page in his Aika Paradise book. At this all the other genin paled except Ten, who said, really, so how is he? Seeing the joke for what it was. Anko said, stamina freak, but you should know that already, buns. I mean you did tell Mia and me all the juicy gossip about your makeout session in the woods. Causing Tenten to pale and Naruto's eyes to widen as he turned to open his mouth when a rock hit him right between the eyes thrown from Tenten and she said not a word. Hinata became pale as she heard and saw all this, and Kiba said, well, wait a minute, someone want to tell me what the hell's going on. Ino said, come on everyone, tell us what's going on. With an excited voice. Naruto shook his head and said, don't let your imagination get the best of you. The truth is Tenten and I were in the woods working on kenjutsu, which is why I have bandages on my arm here where I let my guard down and she sliced me with her sword. As for the thing with my bedroom, Sasuke hired me to make a seal for him to help him reach his goal in life, and both Sasuke and Sakura followed me to my bedroom when I was looking for a blank scroll to write down his order. As you can see, I have a lot of scrolls that are full, so it took me a few moments to find a blank scroll in my apartment. And Sasuke just playing a joke on Sakura to motivate her to get stronger, since he told her if she didn't get stronger he would date Ino instead, who seemed to be stronger. Who is stronger between you both? Perhaps you both can display your skills now to the other and see where you rank to help Sasuke decide. Ino and Sakura both had lightning shoot between their eyes, and Sakura said, I'll race you Ino, whoever can run up and down a tree with chakra the most wins the first date with Sasuke-kun. Ino said, you're on forehead. As they both took off running up a tree. Shikamaru said, troublesome. As he walked over and sat down under a tree with Choji sitting down beside him. Sasuke turned to Naruto and said, I don't know if I should thank you or kill you. Naruto shrugged and said, as long as I get paid, I don't give a damn either way. Now about your seal. Does the other Jounins agree to help hold Anko down, and all witness that I tried everything I could do to talk her out of this and wait until Jiraiya gets here? Kurenai shot a glare at the other Jounins, who flinched, knowing the hell Kurenai could cause, and she said, yes we do. Naruto sighed and said, fine. As he slipped on his pants and pulled on a shirt while also grabbing his sealing supplies before resealing everything and sealing the scroll into the seal on his shoulder. Naruto turned to Anko and said, where do you want to do this at? I ask because you're going to have to take off everything from your waist up, as I use your body as a medium to do each of the seals. Anko said, here. We will do it here. Maybe show these little pencil dicks here what a real woman looks like. As she took off her jacket and fishnet, leaving her completely nude from the waist up. Kiba, Sasuke and Choji all blew back with a nosebleed as Lee covered his eyes while Shikamaru had his eyes closed and Shino looked away at a tree. Ino screamed, what the hell are you doing, you slut? As both her and Sakura stopped running, tied to see Anko strip in front of all the guys like that. Tenten shook her head and said, why the hell aren't you passed out Naruto like the others, or looking away? The Jounins I can understand since they've probably seen woman before and are not embarrassed about it, but you shouldn't be. Naruto shrugged and said, it's not mine to look at, so I won't out of respect, and I'm too worried about the seal to think about what is in front of me right now. Kurenai pinched herself and said, if someone doesn't grab you soon, Naruto, I might just stake a claim on you myself. Hinata squeaked out, sensei. In shock as she got a look of betrayal on her face. Tenten blushed as she shot a look at Kurenai and one at Hinata, who returned the glare, and Tenten thought, if Naruto can't figure out she likes him after this, then I'm going to beat the shit out of him, but I am going to have to question Niji. I won't be used. Naruto grabbed a brush and a kunai and said, last chance Anko, because if we start we can't stop until they're all done or it will kill you. Are you sure about this? Anko nods and Naruto said, all right, give me some of your blood in that bottle of ink. It will make it easier to be compatible to you. As he held out the kunai for her to take, and Anko took it and cut her hand and let some blood go into the ink bottle. Naruto takes the bottle and shakes it to mix the ink and blood better, and he said, all right, create a Kage Bunshin. Anko put her hands together and said, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. As a single Kage Bunshin appeared, and Kakashi said, so this is why you asked me if I knew how to do that jutsu. Anko nods as Naruto began to draw seals across her shoulder, and everyone else watched as he took 10 minutes to draw the seal and said, all right, Kage Bunshin, I need you to come over and place your hand in this circle here over the kanji and send a small burst of chakra into it to activate the seal. The Kage Bunshin of Anko walked over and placed her hand where Naruto said to, and a moment later the seals all began to become bright and encircle to the spot the Kage Bunshin held its hand before it went up in smoke as the seal finished setting, and Naruto looked at it and then looked at the bottle of ink and said, hey, would someone mind going to the Wolf Claw weapon shop and getting 2 more bottles of sealing ink? I don't have enough to draw the next 2 seals. Kiba said, don't you mean 3 seals? Naruto shook his head and said, I meant what I said, Kiba. Don't question me about seals, or I'll turn you into a woman for the rest of your life. Periods and all. Kiba paled a moment and said you can't do that, can you? Naruto smirked and said try me, and how the hell did you get those bottles so quick? As he saw 2 bottles of sealing ink in Guy's hands. Guy said it's the power of youth. Naruto said I see, well you should talk to Sasuke about power. He's the Avenger. Sasuke glared at Naruto as Guy handed Naruto the 2 bottles of ink and had Anko cut her hand again to put more blood in them. Naruto then began to draw seals again and after another 10 minutes he said sorry about this, but I'm not trying to be a pervert or anything, but this is the only way I know how to do this jutsu. As one of his fingers began to glow green, raising several eyebrows, and Naruto placed the glowing green hand over Anko heart and he slowly began to trail it along her skin until it got to her nipple, and Anko winced as her nipple got hard and asked what are you doing? Naruto said you know how women give breast milk, right? Well, what I am doing is moving blood along the veins from your heart to your nipple, where I will make a small cut in your vein to draw the blood from your heart out your nipple like breast milk. Just a second there. As blood began to come out of her nipples, and it moved in a small bubble up to a small opening in a circle seal Naruto had drawn, and he used his other hand to draw the missing part of the circle before he said seal. As he activated the seal, Anko winced as she felt the seal burn along her skin, and Naruto quickly healed the small cut in Anko nipple. Once he was done, he was sweating, and said how are you doing, Anko? Anko said alright Gaki, so this is the worst part, right? Naruto said yeah, hey, I know the sensei are going to hold Anko down when I break the restraining seal, but I need someone to put something in her mouth to keep her from biting down and breaking her teeth or biting her tongue off. Shikamaru said here. As he walked over with a piece of bamboo, and Naruto raised an eyebrow and he said it's too troublesome to explain, but I realized what you were needing, are you sure you can do this? Naruto said I got no choice now, I hope I have enough chakra for the last part though, because that is where I will have to race the clock. Kakashi said why don't you use a soldier pill, Naruto? Naruto shook his head and said can't, I'm allergic to them. As he tapped his stomach so the Jounin realized there had to be a reason related to the Kyuubi. Naruto took a deep breath and said ready or not we need to start, Anko. Anko said do your best Gaki, and know that I believe in you. Naruto nods as he began to draw a small seal, and he stopped and stood up and getting everyone's attentions, and he said I really wish we could have waited on Jiraiya. I've only attempted this a couple of times, and I nearly blew myself up, hopefully it goes right this time. As his index finger began to glow, and to the shock of everyone there, he began to draw a seal with chakra in air as he said seal release. As he activated the ink-based seal with one hand and the glowing seal in the air with the other. Anko screamed in pain as the seal on her shoulder broke and the cursed seal began to spread across her body, and Shikamaru shoved the bamboo in Anko's mouth as the Jounins tried holding down Anko, and Kurenai said what are you waiting on? Naruto said I can't yet. I have to wait until the seal completely covers her body before I can begin to break it. If I don't, all 8 of her celestial gates will open, killing her. As the seal marks spread across Anko's body, the Jounins began to sweat as the Genins looked worried, and after 3 minutes Anko was completely covered with the cursed seal marks, and Naruto said now. As both his index fingers began to glow as he began to draw 2 separate seals, one on each side of him above Anko, who he was now straddling, as he began to turn slowly in a circle, still continuing to draw the seals in the air above Anko. After 7 more minutes, Naruto began to flash through hand signs, and said soul-binding cursed seal release. As he finished the last hand sign, slamming his hands into the seals. As he did, there was a huge explosion. Screams and dust were heard coming from the site where the explosion happened, and the Genins were all looking on worried as the dust began to clear away. The form of the Jounin sensei were seen with cuts and bruises from where they tried to shield themselves from the explosion. Anko, who was in the center of a crater, was covered in dirt and bruises as well and was passed out. Just then a roar was heard of someone screaming, and everyone looked up and saw the form of Naruto falling to the ground with him trying to shield his impact on the ground with his arms, and the sound of bones breaking was heard. Before anyone had a chance to say anything, coughing was heard, and everyone looked at the source of the coughing that was still covered in dust, and as it settled down Naruto laughed once and said I'm glad I don't have to explain that one, because I sure the hell can't. As he fell backwards passed out. Just then the Hokage arrived with several umbu and said what the hell, Minato, is that you? Kushina before he paled and said tell me that's not what I think it is. As he saw what both Kushina and Minato were standing on. Tenten said godmother is that you, but how, and you're supposed to be dead and oh fuck. As she paled. Kushina said it's not what you think about, it's a new animal skin throw rug. A voice said get off me humans. Minato said nope, not going to happen fuzzball. You're completely powerless Kyuubi. The Sandaime wiped some sweat off his forehead and said, I'm getting too old for this. Are Naruto and Anko all right? Kurenai said, it appears that Anko is passed out, sir, but the curse seal is gone, sir. The Sandaime's eyes widen, and he said, I see. And Naruto? An Umbu in a dragon's mask said, both his arms are broken, he's nearly out of his single chakra. In fact, I can only feel just a little chakra at all in his body, and he is passed out, though if it is from chakra exhaustion or pain or both I can't say for sure. The Sandaime said, I see. Can anyone explain what is going on here? Kushina said, oh, I can, since I was the one who interfered in the sealing jutsu Naruto was doing at the last second causing this, but I rather do it privately and I would like to make sure my son is taken care of first if you don't mind. Motioning toward Naruto. Sakura said, your Naruto mother, the one who was poisoned by the assassin from the Mist Village? Kushina nods and Sasuke said, how the hell is the Yondaime Hokage alive with the Kyuubi no Kitsune? Causing the ones who hadn't figured it out yet to go wide-eyed. Minato said, perhaps you should bring everyone here with us to talk privately, Sarutobi, because after what I've seen of my son's life, I will not be leaving his side while he's vulnerable. Several shouts of "son" was heard from those who didn't know as they saw the resemblance to Naruto and Minato. Sarutobi nods and said, Umbu, bring everyone here to my office quietly. The Umbu nod and began to take everyone to the Hokage office, and the Sandaime thought, why me?
Thank you for your views, likes, subscriptions, and overall support of my ongoing efforts to bring great content to all of you. Check out my Patreon for more mature fanfiction. The link is in the description and like everywhere on my channel.